unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with the promo code RADIO to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
The new year is here. Time for change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand fields of IT, cybersecurity, and AI with My Computer Career in just months. Already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharkies. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
If only life had a remote control, you could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Todd Monken, their offensive coordinator, consistently last week when week 18 when we had the conversation when he said we got to just stay ahead of the chains. Keep Derrick Henry on the field because if you win first down for Buffalo defensively and you get it to 2nd and 8, Derrick Henry's not on the field. He's on the sideline because they bring in a Justice Hill type of back because it comes at a pass down or pass protection situation. Buffalo has to get Derrick Henry off the field.
Such intensity on a Friday. What is this? Such intensity in the music and drama.
Way too intense for a Friday.
My gosh, we can't deal. Already? We started inside the first minute.
I know.
Friday.
I got to get it out quick sometimes.
One and a little apostrophe. Soccer scoring right there. First minute, right. Friday. Hi, everyone. It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm him. That's Victoria. We are here for you.
Somebody should have placed the bet. Will a Friday come out in the first 5 minutes of the show? 5, like hockey bet. Will you get a goal in the first 5 minutes?
Because I try to buy Hurricanes wins at times. It backfired on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Buffalo plus 175 returned whatever it returned. But I placed other bets in that game. And can I tell you one of the bets I placed?
Yes.
It didn't win.
Oh, no.
Okay, but it should have, right? The bet was in the first 10 minutes, over a goal and a half.
There you go.
It was plus 350.
Oh, wow.
I knew Buffalo was a great, starting team.
Yeah.
And while Carolina is not, they're plus 5 or so in the first period, Carolina's actually scored more first period goals than has Buffalo.
Right.
So I thought.
Easy money.
Buffalo scores, Carolina counters.
Right.
I win.
Yeah.
Scored within 43 seconds, and I thought, oh, man, this is cake.
Right.
And then I looked up. Carolina had 2 power plays. I'm like.
What a gimme.
And the second power play, I'm like, come on. Dude, do me a favor. Do me a solid here. Nope, nothing. See, this is why you shouldn't gamble. You shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do it.
I know. I'm checking my bets from yesterday. I already got 1. I may have had 2. Oh, I've got 2. I got to check the third one.
I'm trying to remember what I did yesterday.
The Leafs won, and they were home underdogs, so that was plus 110. I also picked the Blue Jackets to be under 6.5, plus 170. Got that one.
Oh, actually, the NHL parlay, which I didn't play.
Oh,
hit.
yeah. Oh, well,
of course. That makes sense.
That always happens.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, I didn't play it. At Columbus minus a goal and a half, they won easily over the Sharks.
Right.
And Philadelphia won on Long Island.
Yeah.
And that would have been plus 405. So, of course, I didn't play it.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I know.
All right. Well, there you go. So the ones you just said you're going to have to figure out the ones I play and the ones I don't. The ones I don't, those are the ones that win.
I know.
The ones I do, those are the ones that don't win.
Exactly.
I'm
Sometimes,
such a dope.
like my MMA bets. I'm real good at it if I don't put my own money on it.
You're good at it anyway. You should just go safety in numbers.
Well, I should. We have a mutual friend that tells me I should do this all the time.
Yeah.
So
safety in numbers. It is a numbers game. It is a numbers game. We're in a Premier League pick'em contest with a bunch of friends, right?
Yes.
So this week, and for those, there's at least one of those guys who is probably listening now. I picked 10 draws this week.
Oh,
they're all
yes.
draws.
I love a draw.
All of them. I might change one, maybe two, probably not. But right now, I've got written down all draws.
I like it.
Because I honestly, I don't know who's going to win. I don't know who's gonna
well,
win.
hey, that's good. When you don't know, just pick a draw.
Exactly. And we're okay with that. In
Right.
European football, we're okay. Like soccer, game ends in a tie. We're all good.
No one's mad.
Yeah. Which is good. Good result. Maybe not a good result. Doesn't matter. All right. It's a busy weekend. We have the 4 NFL playoff games. We're going to talk about each one of those probably in the next couple of minutes. The Atlantic Coast Conference, we haven't stopped. We got basketball. And Carolina hosts Stanford. NC State hosts Cal.
Big UFC card this weekend.
There is a big UFC card this weekend. There's always a big UFC card.
It's a pay-per-view.
Duke is going on the road for, I'm trying to, hold on, I'll tell you how big a game this is for Duke. Big quad 3 opportunity at Boston College. I feel for the Blue Devils this year. I feel for the boredom that could set in with the majority of this schedule.
Yeah.
So, and don't think that doesn't matter. I have said this and you get a lot of pushback from this, and it's not like Gonzaga hasn't been a really good team nationally for the last almost 2 decades. But when they have gotten to the NCAA tournament, when all of a sudden, after you get past the first round, maybe even the second round, when all of those teams have been playing teams that maybe are not as good as you, but look a lot like you, they're used to it. And you're playing against teams, with very few exceptions, that look a lot like the team you played in the first round, maybe the second round. It's just human nature. It's something you're not used to. And that is my fear about Duke this year, is that they're going to get to the tournament and they're going to come up against a team in the Sweet 16 that has gone through a gauntlet in the SEC or the Big 10 or the Big 12, and that team ain't going to be afraid.
Mm-hmm. They'll have the scars.
And Duke's going to be like, we've been squashing, Notre Dame and Cal and Stanford and Virginia Tech.
Just fat and happy all season.
It's not it will work against them. The best thing that they did this year, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, was scheduling the game against Illinois late in the conference season. They're going to find out exactly where they are. Illinois might be, I don't know if they're the best team in the Big Ten, but they're among the best teams in the Big Ten. And that game is going to tell everybody how good Duke is. But that's a non-league game in Madison Square Garden in New York, and that's what we're kind of pointing towards in February. I think it's late February. That game is going to tell us a lot about what the Blue Devils are. All right. We have huge positive news about your Carolina Hurricanes. Go. All right. If you have listened to this program, if you listen to the Canes Corner podcast, available wherever you get your podcast, I didn't even tell you that we're live on YouTube right now.
We are?
YouTube.
People are already there.
Yeah, youtube.com/Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan. Same deal. Get to us.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to the Canes Corner podcast, which we do after every Hurricanes game, although not tonight since I cannot see the game tonight, I am in transit. And probably not Monday night either. I apologize in advance. You will notice a large, redheaded Danish man on the bench. Frederick Anderson is back.
Yes.
Okay. So I've been talking about goaltending for a long time. And I've tried to stress that it's not Carolina's only issue. Whether or not the goaltending has been good is not Carolina's only problem. They have had problems with their top forwards all scoring, or at least playing well at the same time. We still haven't seen that. When Martin Necas was on one of the all-time great heaters for somebody not named McDavid, Andrei Svechnikov wasn't playing great. Or Sebastian Aho wasn't scoring at 5-on-5. And right now, it seems like none of them are really piling up points, which has really exposed the problems. At the beginning of the season, when Necas was on that heater and Aho was contributing points, but not necessarily playing awesome, Carolina was outscoring all of their issues. So it's not to say that the goaltending is their only problem. They've got some problems with their top forwards, all scoring. There are some defensive liabilities. They are not by nature a super physical team. That showed up in Buffalo. But ultimately, had their goaltending been better over the last, we'll just say going back to before Thanksgiving, we're basically talking about 2 months. Today's the 17th, right? So the last time Carolina won 3 in a row was a week before Thanksgiving. Yeah. 3 in a row. That ain't a lot for a team that figures to be among the leaders in the Eastern Conference. So we're talking about a 2-month stretch where the best they have done is won consecutive games, or you win 2 and get an overtime loss, which is what happened in those 3 home games during Eric Stahl weekend. And the biggest culprit, not the only one, but the biggest problem has been goaltending. Pyotr Kochetkov would play great, as he did in that game against Tampa, but then let in my opinion, a bad goal. And that goal eliminated getting a point. They were within a minute of getting to the finish line of regulation and taking at least a point, and maybe you get 2, and they got none. You lose a game to Anaheim Sunday, the Eric Stahl game, when Pyotr Kochetkov allowed 2 bad goals late. Neither of those goals can go in. And, well, one was in overtime. At least you got a point out of it. So, and those are just 2 examples of, if we went back through all the games, yeah, he's not the only reason, but when goaltenders make mistakes, they're goals. When other players make mistakes or don't finish chances, it doesn't necessarily hurt you on the scoreboard. It could. It often does. But it's different. And Carolina has paid the price for having really poor goaltending when you are talking about it in relation to a team that figures to be, among the leaders in the entire NHL. We can go back and we can diagnose why the Devils didn't make the playoffs last year. They had terrible goaltending. I almost cursed just now. I did. I kid you not. The Devils had awful goaltending last year. They didn't have great goaltending the year before, but it was better. Last year was awful. Missed the playoffs. That team, look at that roster and tell me that roster should miss the playoffs. Yes, there have been a couple of additions this year, but they had a great roster last year too. Missed the playoffs. Why? Goaltending was terrible. Carolina's been able to overcome, to a point, substandard goaltending. The problem is that when Anderson was down with the injury, Carolina was hoping that Pyotr Kochetkov would take the opportunity and establish himself as a reliable number one. Well, and we'd all like to have that. He didn't. Kochetkov did not establish himself as the starter. What he looks to me is pretty elite backup. There's nothing wrong with that. If Pyotr Kochetkov is your backup goaltender, your second, your 1B to Frederik Andersen's 1A, I think you are in great shape. I think the rest of this season for Carolina, as long as Frederik Andersen can stay healthy, I think the rest of the season can be dynamite. Because now the Hurricanes should have excellent goaltending. They really should. Andersen, look at the last 10 games he played last year. Look at the first 4 games he played this year. Look at the first round of the playoffs against the Islanders before he wore down. He's an excellent, excellent goaltender. And Kochetkov, as his, we'll just say understudy, for lack of a better term, gives you a number 2 goalie with elite capabilities. I think the Hurricanes could really turn it around with Andersen back. He's not starting tonight. It'll be Kochetkov tonight. So the Hurricanes for 2 months and longer than that, because the Andersen injury was discovered back in October. So really for 3 months have been backup goaltender in Kochetkov, minor league goalie in Spencer Martin, and minor league goalie who didn't even start the year employed in Dustin Tokarski. Tokarski has been sent back to the Chicago Wolves. And now, all of a sudden, you've got bona fide number 1 starter in Andersen, as good an NHL number 2 goalie as any team in the league has. No joke. He's, other than Semyon Varlamov, who I think has not had a great year. I haven't paid that much attention to the Islanders because the Islanders have been bad. But historically speaking, Sorokin and Varlamov has been the best goaltending tandem. Jonathan Quick and Igor Shesterkin in New York. This tandem should be as good as any tandem in the entire NHL. And now with good goaltending, we'll see if Carolina can take off. I suspect that they will. I'm looking forward to it anyway. I've just spoken it into existence.
I like it.
All right. We have some football matters to discuss. Our final 4 games in the 4 games in the divisional round. I almost talked myself into nothing. And we can go in order. Texans are at the Chiefs. So I have never been a fan of the bye. I think the bye, with college football, all 4 teams that had the bye lost, but I also think that stat is skewed because clearly there were 2 teams that shouldn't have had the bye. Boise State and Arizona State, let's be honest, should not have had byes. They were not 2 of the 4 best teams, but based on the rules, 2 of those teams were going to get byes. Because the other one would have been Clemson, and they certainly weren't one of the 4 best. So, but I think sitting around doesn't help. The Chiefs have been sitting around for 24 days.
Long time.
None of those guys played in the final game of the regular season, and that was proper anyway. However, they'll beat the Texans because, A, the Texans aren't that good.
They're not. And they just put it all out there for the last game.
Well, they did, but they didn't. When you go back and because I watched that game because I really thought we were going to see something from the Chargers, and we didn't.
No.
Part of that was Houston's defense played very well, and part of it was the Chargers found creative ways to suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think you need to look at anything other than you score a touchdown to make it 23-12. You're lining up to kick the extra point to make it a 10-point game, and you get that extra point blocked, and it's returned the other way for a touchdown, including your kicker forgetting the rule.
Yeah.
Because if the punt is blocked, if a punt or a place kick is blocked behind the line of scrimmage, it's a live ball. It's a fumble. Right? It's just like a fumble. But it was blocked, and he's trying to bat it down as though if it touches the ground, it's an incomplete pass. No, that's not how it works. Now, if the ball it goes beyond the line of scrimmage on a block, then yes, it's not a anyway. So
yeah.
Yes.
I think the Texans just spent it all in that game to try to make it to the next round because they also are known for having like a good game one week and then a real bad game the next week. So it's just, And
actually, I think I just screwed the rule up because I just think it's a live ball. It doesn't make a difference where it is. It's just a live ball. You've got to recover the ball. You've got to stop the play. So, yeah, I'm making fun of something that apparently, I'm on mental out to lunch. So they completely screwed that up, but the Chargers were just bad. They were dropping passes. Justin Herbert wasn't great either. So C.J. Stroud, the offense for Houston, didn't do much in that game. Kansas City still has a great defense. I don't think the Texans are going to score a lot of points. I think the Chiefs probably pull away, but I think it's a competitive game because the Chiefs have been off too long. And that's what the Chiefs have been doing all year long anyway, is playing a competitive game.
And if you look at the spread, I think the spread's like 8 or 9, which the Chiefs have struggled to cover all season long. Not that, this would be difficult, but who knows?
The adage, good teams win, great teams cover. The Chiefs really haven't covered much this season at all. All right, then the next game on Saturday is Washington at Detroit. The only thing I'm focused on in the point spread, the Lions are favored by 9.5. They may cover that. I don't know. Because the Lions are a machine, and Washington, I think, can be scored on.
Big time.
So can Detroit, although in that last game that mattered, Minnesota and their great offense did not score on them. So remains to be seen. But I think they're going to be points scored. Now, Detroit might win this game 40-30.
I could see that.
But when I look at this game, I don't see how there aren't points. Of course, because sports, watch it be a 21-17 game.
Of course.
Would confuse the heck out of me.
But I could see a 40 Detroit, but maybe Commanders 21.
Yeah, I mean, I think Washington will score. I think we will put points on the board, but I know Detroit's going to score because they are
a machine.
They are a unit.
Biting kneecaps and all.
Yeah, I do think there is something about this group. They have figured out ways, even when they've had to outscore opponents. I mean, the game against the Bills was, what was it? What was the final? 44-40?
Yeah, it was like 42-44, something like that.
Crazy game.
It was 1 or 2 points off.
That was the game, and I'm going to go back to that game for, was it that? No, actually, I think it was Buffalo at the Rams. I think Buffalo lost to the Rams early in the year. It's one of those two games for a reason why I'm going to pick the way I'm going to pick in the last game.
It's also in Detroit, so I don't know. I know that Washington, it gets cold there too, but it's a different level, I think, maybe.
Well, it's also indoors. Detroit plays inside.
True.
So it should be nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess.
We'll
should be
see.
Good. Should be
Unless
good inside.
the roof came off, but who knows?
The weather report for
the fans will be loud, though.
The Lions and the Commandos should be pretty good. Rams are at the Eagles. I like the Rams. Here's my problem. I have sort of been waiting for the shoe to drop on the Eagles all year. Hasn't happened. I don't think Jalen Hurts has been great. Their offense at times has been a struggle. Their defense has been so good. Probably the biggest reason why the Eagles won, I think, 11 games in a row, something like that. Schedule has a lot to do with that, too. But the Eagles are a very good football team. something about the Rams right now. I think they're a little bit banged up. But their defensive line, they were so dominant against Minnesota. They don't have to blitz. They bring pressure, but I don't think they have to blitz. I would not be. I'm picking the Rams to win the game, so obviously I wouldn't be surprised if they went to Philadelphia and won. I just like Matthew Stafford in this game. To me, is the X factor. So we'll see if imagine that Gold picking the other team's starting quarterback, who's likely headed to the Hall of Fame. I think that is the difference in the game. Ravens Bills is a dream. I still can't think of. It's not about two teams that are playing at a high level. And the Ravens went 12-5, and the Bills are 13-4 during the regular season. It's not about that. It's about two individual players who happen to be quarterbacks are played this entire season at such a level that individually you could argue that each one had one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen. From it's not about passing yards, right? It's not about, we've seen quarterbacks throw for over 5,000 yards. But in terms of dominating a football game at the quarterback position, because they both do it with their arm and their legs and leadership, I don't think we've ever had a game that approaches what this is. Mike Felder is going to join us next, and we'll talk about a little bit about this. I think the difference in this game, it was funny because we were talking about it at home last night, and we had ESPN on or something, and my wife said, yeah, they're talking about Allen and Jackson. That's not why this game's going to be won. I'm like, what? She goes, Sean McDermott isn't good. And it's true. Like, isn't good is not the right way of putting it. He's very good. But he has proven in the past to be allergic to situational decision-making. We all know what happened in Kansas City a few years back, right at the end of the division game where they should have won and ended up allowing it to go to overtime. But earlier this year, they tried to sneak Josh Allen in from the 2-yard line when they had 3 timeouts left, and it was under 2 minutes, and Allen didn't get it. They were down 2 scores. They needed 2 scores. Allen didn't get it. They had to burn one. They didn't have to burn one of those timeouts. They chose to burn a timeout. And it eliminated their ability to win the game. And those decisions, to me, get you beat. I don't see John Harbaugh making that mistake. So, I'll take the Ravens on the road. I think the Ravens got 3 wins in them. Maybe I'm just swayed by what Bridget Condon from NFL Network told us 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Ravens were the best team.
I think Harbaugh does have to be careful, though, because I know he likes to be gutsy, but if they try to be gutsy and go for it on 4th and whatever, because you know he will, and they don't make it, that's where Buffalo could capitalize. So they have to be careful in that.
Buffalo's home. Buffalo's the home team. So
hopefully their fans have shirts on, because did you read the article about the guy who was near, there was a guy who was on the verge of having to amputate one of his limbs because he did put a shirt on. What are you doing? It's negative 28 degrees.
I mean,
get some hot hands or something at least.
You know what we call that?
Dumb.
Natural selection.
Yeah.
Mike Felder will join us next. Sirius XM will talk football with the Maven next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
It's 2025 and everybody's looking for a fresh start with their resolutions. Every team, player, coach, they've got something on a wish list. The Canes, I think they could use a little bit more toughness. The Panthers, clarity on Bryce Young. Is he the guy? Is he not? And every college basketball team wants to be hitting their stride as they hit the ACC schedule.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time. A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling, we do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling, quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
What if, instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you could choose one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. With big bank reliability and small bank resolve, you get 160 years of financial strength and stability and an enduring commitment to personal service. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank. Visit firsthorizon.com/getitall.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
Lowe's knows how to help make your Super Bowl 59 party a touchdown. Let us help you prep your home to host with top brands like Charbroil, Blackstone, and LG, so you can be the MVP of game day. Plus, use the Lowe's app to find what you need for a seamless shopping run. Or huddle up with our Lowe's Red Vest associates to help make all your game time hosting decisions.
This is Adam Gold.
I know Bill Belichick is making his weekly appearance on McAfee right now. It almost looks like he's in the connecting area between the two train cars.
Yeah.
Right?
Girl washing station in a lab.
Carolina hazmat suit he's got on. It's weird.
It has sleeves and everything.
Very, very strange wherever Belichick is.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. NFL divisional round weekend, national championship, college football on Monday. We're not here Monday. It's a best of the Adam Gold Show on Monday. So this would be our last opportunity to talk about the national championship of college football, Notre Dame and Ohio State. Mike Felder in the bleachers, in the bleachers on Twitter, Sirius XM. You can find him everywhere. It's Felder, the Substack. You should get that. And I hope I'm not taking you away from Australian Open tennis. I know you're a tennis fan, as I am. You and I bond over Gael Monfils and Victoria Azarenka at times. Let's talk about the national championship game a little bit. And I also want your take on at least one of the NFL games over the weekend.
I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. All right. We talked last time previewing the semifinals about matchups. What's the matchup that you think is the most intriguing, Notre Dame and Ohio State?
I don't know if it's a player-to-player specific. I think it is cover one. And cover one, obviously, that's man coverage with one high safety. And I think that's the most intriguing element here because both teams are going to have problems with that. If you're Notre Dame and you're playing cover one, you have to cover 3 NFL wide receivers.
Right.
Oh, no, this is going to be hard for us.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? We got Jeremiah Smith, we have Emeka Egbuka, and we also have Carnell Tate. Wow, this will be hard. And we have to do it every play. So if I'm Ohio State, I throw the ball far. Just throw the ball far.
Right.
And then you flip it over, and on the other side, and ACC fans will be, they've seen this before. If you play cover one and you're Ohio State, let me make sure I don't hit my desk. When you make that turn, receivers here, quarterbacks here, if you're playing man, you turn to the receiver. Where's my back at, Gold?
Well, I don't know.
My back's to the quarterback.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yes. Oh,
So
your
I
quarterback
can't-
runs. Right. Okay. And Riley Leonard. Yeah.
So you can't see what Riley Leonard's doing because your back is to the quarterback, and it's like that's a problem. It doesn't have to be a 50-yard run like Lamar Jackson, but if he gets 7 yards on a 2nd and 6, guess what that is? We call that a first down in my business.
Right.
So they have 2 different problems, and I just want to see who adjusts better, who changes more. Like, are we going to see more cover 2? Are we going to see more cover 3? Are we going to see more cover 4? But cover 1 in terms of matchups, the differences, the disparate nature of this, where one team is worried about what they're going to do down the field, the other team has to worry about what this quarterback's going to do. That's the real matchup for me in this football game.
Is Notre Dame explosive enough offensively to beat Ohio State?
Hey, man. I like the fight. What is it? Faison. I like him. I think he's really good. I don't know that they're going to push the ball down the field to him. I think they like him in screens, and they're not going to be that explosive in the screen game. And then you look at, hang on, I want to make sure I get his name right because it's like
I get names wrong all the time. You're lucky. You're lucky I got your name right.
Great House. I almost called him Godspeed, like Nicolas Cage from The Rock. So, or Goodspeed, excuse me. But Great House. If they can find a way to get Great House open down the field, sure. But let's look at these numbers. Notre Dame's best pass catcher is Great House.
Yep.
For 484 yards.
It's not explosive. Yeah. It's explosive if the defensive back falls down.
Yeah, that's not what are we doing? They're not that type of a football team. So they have to find a way to get Love going on the ground. They have to find a way to get Riley Leonard going on the ground, and that's the part that's going to be interesting. Meanwhile, Ohio State, they live on big plays.
Right.
And if you get big plays early, first quarter, second quarter, all of a sudden you're just looking around like, oh, man, what do we do?
Here's the thing. Mike Felder is joining us here. Here's the thing. Ohio State blew Oregon out.
Yes.
They blew them out early, and they were so far out in front, didn't matter.
Yes.
But last week, they kind of left the door open for Texas. If Ohio State doesn't get the most out of those early moments, Notre Dame is the kind of a team that, they're not. They're sort of comfortable being maybe 10 points down, even 14 points down, and they feel like they still have you. So if we get to the middle of the third quarter and this is a 10-point game, I could argue that Ohio State's kind of in trouble.
So I think football is probably it depends on caliber, right? Depends on the caliber of the opponents. But this is probably going to be a 50-minute football game. And by that, what I mean is at 50 minutes, the winner will be decided. And it will either be, oh, we're in in a dogfight. We don't know what to do with this. That's Ohio State. Or we're in a dogfight and we love it here. I want to live. This is what I want to live in. And so that's going to be the interesting part for me. We saw it with Boise State and Penn State, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a 35-minute football game.
Yeah.
For 35 minutes, everybody was okay. We hung around, and then all of a sudden, Penn State was like, "Let's get heavy. Let's lean on them." Texas, Ohio State. I thought that one was probably a 45. 50, that was, in the fourth quarter, Ohio State was like, "Let's just come on. Let's put this baby to bed. Mom and Dad are tired. Like let's put the baby to bed, and then we can like have some alone time." So, I think what we're looking at in this game, as we get to the pinnacle, right, of college football this year. Oh, by the way, no SEC teams. Okay, cool. Yeah. We get to the pinnacle of college football this season. We're looking at a 50-minute game with 10 to play if Notre Dame's not within a score. And this is something I want folks to realize. You and I have talked about this before. You've heard me say this before. A touchdown is one play. If you're explosive. Notre Dame not that explosive.
Right.
So if you have to go on a 7-play drive,
yes,
8-play, 10-play, 12-play drive,
yep,
all of a sudden you're looking at the time just run off the clock.
Yep.
And so what are you talking about? Like a 5-minute drive? And you're down by 10? 5-minute drive? Oh no. This is bad. And I think that's why I put it at the 10-minute mark, 50-minute football game. We'll see what happens. They're going to do everything they can. We saw it with Arizona State too, right? They got them to overtime. They stretched Texas to overtime. But it's because they were tight going into that last 10 minutes of the football game. And so this is going to be very interesting to see what this looks like. I mean, if I was a gambling man, I would gamble. I would bet on Ohio State, and I would bet on them keeping the pedal to the metal the whole way down. And Notre Dame putting up a valiant effort. But when we hit that 45, 50-minute mark and Emeka Egbuka catches a 35-yard touchdown pass,
yep,
you're like, oh, we ain't got – there's nothing we could do with that.
Yeah,
so that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, if Notre Dame has to throw, they're
trouble.
They're going to be in trouble. Mike Felder, it's Felder, the Substack. Go check it out. So I agree with you on that. I'd love to see Notre Dame win it. I am rooting for Notre Dame to get it done. I'm a big Marcus Freeman fan
Same.
as well.
I mean, he's the most – hang on. Is Victoria – is she around?
She's right there.
Marcus Freeman, the most handsome coach we've ever had.
He's up there, yes.
Well,
who are you putting over him?
Wait a second.
We do have Dave Canales here with the Panthers.
Okay. We're talking about college. We're talking about college or pro.
I'm just saying, I'm saying in general, because this dude, he got the high fade, the cheekbones,
he's great complexion.
His cheekbones be cheekboning. Like this dude is, woo.
He does have a baby face.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. He brought a little seasoning to that Notre Dame program. I'm rooting for. I'd love to see him win. I don't think they will, but I'd love to see him win.
I love when you brought that. And now I'm trying to think of handsome coaches. There was a time where Cliff Kingsbury was a very handsome coach. I actually think Sean McVay is right up there.
Oh, Marcus Freeman, bro.
Yeah.
But Sean McVay is like a little man.
I think D'Amico Ryans is handsome.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think D'Amico Ryans is very handsome.
He's super buff, too.
Yeah, well, so is Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, he is.
Marcus Freeman's been in the weight room. He lifts with the team. Mike Felder is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. This is taking a turn. I'm here for this.
Man, whenever I watch the games, whenever I see Notre Dame with my wife, she's like, he looks so good. And I'm like, yo, I can tell you what you're not going to do. When I go to anything with Notre Dame involved, you're not going.
We're not going to South Bend. Nope, we're not making that trip. We're crossing that off
I'm
the
glad we
bucket
moved from Chicago.
All right, let me get an NFL game from you.
Sure.
It's easy to say this is about Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I can't recall having two quarterbacks play the position the way they both play the position at this level, have dominated games They're both the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, Derrick Henry is a big part of what Baltimore does.
That's what I was going to bring
There
up.
isn't another player on Buffalo that you can say it's about that guy too. It's really about Allen, which is why I would give him the MVP, but I can't argue against Lamar Jackson. The year he's had is just ridiculous. How do you differentiate between these two teams?
Derrick Henry. That's what I was going to say. I was ready for the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and ready for. I think Lamar Jackson should get the MVP, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
Derrick Henry is the difference. And I'll tell you this: my dad is a Steelers fan, like lifelong. Like he grew up in Germany.
Okay.
Where they used to go to the movie theater, and they got 2 NFL games a week. Steelers, and they got the Cowboys.
Oh, wow.
He hates the Cowboys, loves the Steelers. And he called me the day after the game, and he was like, "What are we doing?" Derrick Henry, like, the way he would, like, those guys were falling off Derrick Henry's body and making business decisions. And Derrick Henry makes you make business decisions.
He does.
And that's the problem. I didn't think Derrick Henry, I'll be honest, I didn't think Derrick Henry was going to be that good in the NFL. I thought he just had a really good offensive line at Alabama, and, we'll go from there. And then he turns out, guess what? He is good.
Yeah, Hall of Fame good.
Yeah, like this is unbelievable. And I think that he is the difference in this football game. And by the way, once you start to load up the box and worry about Derrick Henry, oh, wow. Do we have a guy named Zay?
Is he going to play? I don't know if Zay Flowers is going to play, but they've got other guys.
I think he's going to. Like that's
the 2 tight ends are great, and Bateman is good enough, and Nelson Aguilar is still
Aguilar's still got a little left in the tank. Yeah. I think Zay is going to play. Talking to because I do some radio in Baltimore, and they're like Baltimore, and they were like, yeah, we think he's going to give it at least he's going to give it a go or try.
Right.
But like the reality is, it doesn't matter who's out there. Because if you're 11 men and you're worried about Derrick Henry and you get hugged up to the line of scrimmage to try to make sure you can stop this human giant. Have you seen his high school highlights?
No, but he's like 2 people.
He's not smaller.
Right.
He's playing against people that are trying to get an extracurricular to put on their college resume.
Right.
And he's destroying them.
Yep.
So, like, this guy, like, he's smaller probably now than he was in college and in high school. He's more lean.
Yeah.
And he just is a monster. And look, shout out to him. Like, he gets the job done. So you have all these weapons. You mentioned Aguilar, who coming from USC, who's an absolute, like, he could still be a speed freak down the seam. He's a problem. And I just think Derrick Henry, to me, is the difference.
Yeah, but
which is why I think the Ravens win.
The durability of Derrick Henry has been just remarkable because he has carried so many carries for so long. You know, we see guys like Le'Veon Bell, who was great for about 4 years.
That's exactly who I was going to bring up was Le'Veon Bell. But Le'Veon Bell also got abused. Yeah. By the way, my wife went to Michigan State.
Oh, okay, yeah. He got abused in college.
I thought that should have been called child abuse.
Yeah, Alabama, you get 1 year. You just get 1 year, then you're out. 1 year, then you're out. Like Mark Ingram did. He wasn't there for 3 years. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. The only running back in college who continuously took abuse and then dished it out in the NFL that I can recall is Adrian Peterson.
Yes.
He was still great as a pro after carrying the ball that many times for 3 years.
Yep.
Mike Felder. It says college football analyst on the screen. Maven. That's what we want from now on. Football Maven. At In the Bleachers on Twitter. The Substack. It's Felder. My friend, I appreciate your time. Enjoy the ball this weekend, and I'll talk to you very soon.
Sounds good, man. I cannot wait till Monday so I can get this thing over with.
The off season, his favorite season. Thanks, Mike. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
We have one-timers on the other side. I don't know if there's not a question in there about handsome coaching. We're not doing it right. Next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and it's finally here. The NFL season's too long, but oh boy, the playoffs are the payoff, aren't they? And they start on Saturday. So, new customers, $5 bet gets you $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Your first $5 wager, you don't even have to win it. You can go nuts with that. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed for you. Just go to FanDuel.com/AGS today. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS and get started with $200 in bonus bets. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
A crisis moment is any moment where you feel overwhelmed and as if you aren't able alone to handle what's happening. You don't have to be alone with that feeling. And when that feeling comes is exactly when you should reach out, you should get connected, and you should be in community. We care, we listen, we help. Call, text, or chat 988 anytime.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
It's that time of year to come see me. Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you. So make sure you don't have to cancel on those you love the most.
By getting your flu and COVID vaccines. They're safe and effective.
Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated to fight against new virus strains.
So make sure you don't miss that family gathering and protect those around you. Ask your healthcare provider about updated flu and COVID-19 shots.
Get protected this season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
This is Adam Gold.
Home runs are homers, not dingers, not jacks, not bombs. Can I use tater?
No. Can we say go in yard?
Oh, yes.
Right?
If we can't exaggerate, if we can't use colorful, flowery metaphors and descriptions, why are we here?
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's on the ones and twos. All right, real quick before we do one-timers. I realize this is probably in my email from about 3 hours ago, but it's been a busy morning. Dick Vitale's coming back next week, next Saturday. can't think of a more appropriate game for Dick to do than a Duke game. Duke at Wake next Saturday, the 25th, 4:30 on ESPN. Awesome. Absolutely awesome that Vitale is back. I don't know how many years battling vocal cancer on his vocal cords. I mean, it's an emotional thing, I think, for a lot of people. I don't think there's anybody more singularly responsible for the growth of college basketball than Dick Vitale. All right, one-timers.
Okay, well, we got the big Freddie news for anyone who didn't hear it. Frederick Anderson is active again. So, do you have any concerns of maybe Freddie coming back too soon, potentially?
No. That should never be a concern for anybody, because here's what we know about Frederick Anderson. He is not coming back until he is ready to come back. So, am I surprised that it's the early part of the window? Yes. But once he hit the practice ice, it was an indication that he was closer. I still thought it would take a month, but he's ready. Awesome.
Nice. Well, with the addition of Freddie back, I know we had some concerns, just longevity-wise of how the Canes might be doing. But with him coming back, do you think that will kind of rev the team back up, their mentality maybe a little bit?
I don't think it will. Well, we'll see. But what it will do, and this is the thing that we lost sight of as everybody was complaining about everything else. It wasn't just goaltending. There were other things that were a problem. But the problem really is that when your goaltending is shaky, those are goals. And that's how we keep score. And the margins in the National Hockey League are nothing. Nothing. Look on average. Teams that win score a little bit more than 3 a game. Maybe closer to 3.5. And teams that lose score a little under 3 a game. You're talking about a goal. Yeah, no, this is great. It's awesome. It'll put Kochetkov in a little bit of an easier role for him. He won't be relied upon. Take that pressure off. And now he can go back playing. I think Carolina gets better at the starting goaltender and the backup goaltender now. That's awesome.
Yes. Well, moving on to college football. So if Notre Dame can actually get a win against Ohio State, I know they're still independent from the ACC when it comes to football, but do you think it at all will help the ACC?
No, it won't. There's nothing that can help the ACC except the ACC. Miami getting into the tournament this year and maybe winning a game or two would have helped the ACC. Notre Dame doesn't help the Atlantic Coast Conference in football. It's a good barometer to see where the ACC is, but the ACC hasn't beaten Notre Dame in a while. Has not been good. But it would be awesome to see Notre Dame win a national championship. It really would be. All right, we'll run it back next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The Pack Therapy Podcast is in session thanks to First Horizon Bank. Tim Donnelly here, host of The Drive, alongside Wolfpack legend Casey Morsell.
Every episode is your chance to score inside information on the Pack.
We'll set you up for Wolfpack games all season long.
And we break down the ACC competition, what to watch for as we roll towards the tournament madness.
Plus special guests to keep Wolfpack hope alive.
Follow and subscribe to Pack Therapy wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? Hims can help. Get started at hims.com/joy. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-714-8422. 800-714-8422. 800-714-8422.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford has quite the deal for you with up to $9,000 off all remaining 2024 GMC Sierras or 4.9% financing for 72 months. Includes purchase allowance, bonus cash, GMC loyalty cash, and a Wilkinson discount. Plus payment deferral for 90 days. See dealer for full details. GMC. We are professional grade. Free to Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford or online at wilkinsoncars.com.
Hey, bud, why the long face? Got laid off again, like the third time since the plague. You should move back in with your parents. What? Well, let's go to Sharky's. Now that's a good idea. Hey, they hiring? No chance they'd hire you, but Sharky's is my favorite spot, and I just love hanging there. Sharky's it is. We can discuss a new job over a cold beer and the best wings ever.
He's right, you know. No one's gonna hire you. Move back in with your parents. Sharky's, quite possibly the best neighborhood bar in the world.
I'm Dr. Miller, a dentist and a volunteer for Dental Lifeline Network. DLN asks dentists to volunteer to see just one patient per year who might not have access to proper oral health care. Join me in making a difference.
Go to willyouseeone.org to learn more.
When you're in the thick of a project, Harbor Freight is the place that always comes in handy. Whether you're picking up something for your pickup truck or a power tool for your project, at Harbor Freight, your dollar always goes further. And these days, when everything seems to cost more, you can take pride in knowing that you get hard-working tools at hard-working prices. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Who in the NFC has a coach who's led their team to the Super Bowl and won it? Sean McVay. Who in the NFC has a quarterback that's gone to the Super Bowl and won it? The Rams. What team in the NFC has a quarterback that has had one of the most clutch playoff runs in the history of the NFL? The Rams with Matthew Stafford. In the playoffs with Stafford, he's 5-1 together with Sean McVay. 70% completion percentage, a passer rating of 111, 18 touchdowns, 3 picks. He's a killer in the playoffs. I love Philadelphia. I think they're a fantastic football team. That quarterback and coach will walk into that building and saying, you got to come get us. We do not have to go beat you. You got to beat us. We've been there and done that. And that's why I think they're dangerous, because they're confident.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Hurricanes are home to the Vegas Golden Knights tonight, and I just want to read this exchange that I had on Twitter. It's very similar to many exchanges I've had on Twitter. By the way, thank you very much for spending the time. You can watch this show live on YouTube, youtube.com/Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan. Either way, you get to us. Victoria is here. Taylor questions, and this is from 5 days ago. I mean, it could be from whenever. Adam, do you know if Freddie is close to 100%? I think this team could benefit from his return, even though he hasn't been great. He has been great, actually. Need to steady, calm the goaltending ship. If he's close to 100%, then that means he only needs another 10% before he takes the ice again. My response, no. Still think he's middle February, which means after the Four Nations tournament. Taylor responds, just a few minutes ago. I guess he was close. Boy, do we need him. At least something to change the mojo, that is. All right. I just brought that up simply because I've had a lot of exchanges like this about Frederick Anderson. And he was activated today. Dustin Tokarski was sent back to the Chicago Wolves. And I will tell you that this is maybe the best news the Carolina Hurricanes have gotten all season. I kid you not. Better news than Jordan Martinook not being injured. Better news than when Martin Necas, remember the game where Necas had the knee collision with, who was it? Timo Meier of the New Jersey Devils. And we thought that Necas had his knee blown up. Had to be helped off the ice. Came right back. Didn't miss a shift. Anderson's return is better news than all of those developments turning out in Carolina's favor. Because there is no way that the way Carolina was going in terms of goaltending was a sustainable plan for this season. If you looked in the standings recently, you would notice this. The Columbus Blue Jackets have won 6 straight games. They are 5 points behind Carolina right now. Do I think Columbus is going to overtake the Hurricanes? No, I don't. Matter of fact, Carolina will play Columbus in a week or so at Lenovo Center. Not that Carolina can't lose at Lenovo Center. They've proven they can. But 5 points, suddenly that gap's gone. So the safety net of not falling below the top 3 has been sort of erased because Columbus is playing well. But here's the way I look at the return of Anderson. It actually improves 2 spots. Every part of every team, you have certain, you have a slot. If you're a baseball team, you've got a leadoff hitter and a number 2 hitter, a number 3 hitter. Well, if you don't have your normal leadoff hitter, somebody else has to be there. You're weakening 2 positions. There's a reason why you had that guy hitting leadoff, and there's a reason why that guy was hitting somewhere else. And now you've gotten worse at 2 different spots. But when you get your leadoff hitter back, you improve the leadoff spot and you improve another spot in your lineup. Well, right now the Carolina Hurricanes have been operating with less than ideal starting goaltending. I illustrated these points the other day. If you look at goalies who have played at least 12 games, basically 12 starts in the NHL this year, Pyotr Kochetkov, in terms of a stat called goals saved above average, which it's hard to explain, but what you want is for that to be in the positive territory. It's a cumulative stat. How many goals should have gone in and how many goals do you allow? And Kochetkov was 48th in the NHL in goals saved above average. And maybe that's inexact, but you also can't use things like save percentage raw or goals against average raw because it's more complicated than that. So it's a little bit of a better metric, but again, not perfect. But 48th in the league among goaltenders who have started at least a dozen games. That's not good. There's 32 teams in the league. So you're telling me that there are 47 goalies better than Carolina's number 1 in the NHL. Oof. But the weird part is that Kochetkov, within that overall stat, has been among the best on the penalty kill. Same stat. He's 11th in the NHL. Same exact stat. On the kill, he's been really good. In high danger situations, like how did that not go in situations, he's a top 4 goalie. It's the other things. It's the lack of concentration from throughout the game that gets in Kochetkov's way. He allows too many mediocre chances to go. And now that Anderson comes back, and he's kind of the opposite of Piotr. He's a much steadier goalie, although the shade on Freddie Anderson in terms of how good he is, it's pretty famous to me. I understand he's had some postseason drop-offs. But as a regular season goalie, Anderson has been one of the best the last decade. And he has been great for Carolina. He was great at the end of last year. His first 4 games this year were great. And now you're getting Anderson to be more of your number one. Kochetkov to be a very high-end number 2. And Carolina has drastically improved goaltending just with Anderson's return. They improved their starter. They improved their backup. I would argue that they have a top 3 backup goaltender in the entire NHL. They didn't have that yesterday. They didn't. All right, so very positive thing. All right, before we break, Trey Wingo is going to join us in just a couple of minutes. So there's been a lot of speculation about Bill Belichick going back to the NFL. Jonathan Jones been writing about it on CBS. We have heard Pro Football Talk. There's some uneasiness going on in the ACC and in Chapel Hill that Bill hasn't signed his contract yet, that there's still some interest in the NFL, that this buyout. I've been saying for all along, I don't believe any of this matters. I don't believe any of this chatter matters. I don't believe that the fact that he hasn't signed his contract matters. I don't believe the size of the buyout matters. If an NFL team wanted Bill Belichick, they could pay North Carolina $10 million to get him out today. I believe he's going to coach at least a year. And anyway, Michael Lombardi, who is North Carolina's football general manager, goes on with Pat McAfee every week, as does Bill Belichick. And Lombardi was on with McAfee yesterday. Apparently, Bill is apparently into recruiting.
No, loves it. I mean, he really enjoys it, and the reception's been wonderful. It's been really good. He goes out there, he meets all the kids. And then we've been able to put some offers. We haven't been. We've kind of got. We came in here behind. We need to build a draft board or a high school board. We need to build a portal board, and we're trying to do it on a line item basis, which is difficult. But we will find smart, tough, dependable kids that want to be a part of a pro program. There's plenty of them out there.
Okay, so. Jot that one off. We're checking a lot of these boxes here that would make sense on why Bill would want to go. You haven't got a complete coaching staff yet, but you have an entire pro personnel group, which I think is very new for college ball. So what you're saying is, instead of reporting that we've actually pieced together the most important part of modern ball, you keep reporting about the coaching staffs. We'll get to that is kind of the thought, right? There's a process here on what we need to do, a timeline on it all?
Yeah. Well, first of all, people don't understand the NFL rules, right? So after 2 weeks, when the coaches are not in the playoffs, you can actually go talk to them if they're free agents. So we wanted to wait and see how many coaches who are working in the NFL who want to be here. And our phones have a lot of contacts on that. And then also we wanted to see what some of the college coaches who were available. We thought building a staff was probably the last thing we needed to do. We need to improve the talent pool here at North Carolina. That was really important to us. And so we needed to build a system of operation within this department. We needed processes and systems put in place so that we're just not randomly offering players. And we had to hire certain people to get that. Then we had to hire a strength coach, right? So we hired the former New England strength coach, Moses, who's down here. And then he had to hire a staff. And now his entire staff is in place. And so now we can start our off-season program. Hiring the receiver coach, hiring the O-line coach, we were going to wait until the time was right, till we got everybody in the building so that all the staffs could work together, interview those people at one time. We're not just throwing this out there. This is well thought out. I mean, the guy's won 6 Super Bowls. He's put together a staff before.
All right, that's Michael Lombardi, who was on with Pat McAfee. I am not here to tell you that they're right, that Bill Belichick and Mike Lombardi are right, that the actual coaches, getting a wide receiver coach, tight end coach, whatever, the defensive backs coach, I mean, who knows? I'm not here to tell you that they're right, that is the least of their worries. I'm not even going to attempt that. What I'm here to, I think, and something I've said for a while about this, is that the rules are different. Not the rules for Belichick. The way the college game, I believe, will be coached going forward isn't like what we have ever seen before. And it's not about coaching the game, although to some extent it is. I just think with the House settlement, oh, by the way, there's sort of a development there in that the Department of Education has said that Title IX must be followed with university payments via the House settlement. So they're not going to be able to take 85% of the revenue that the university distributes in that revenue sharing part and just give it to football players, which is an interesting development that we're going to have to kind of delve into and explore over time. But the point is that everything is going to be different. It's going to be different how you recruit, how you retain players. And I don't believe to just dismiss this or to say that this is the way it's been done. You got to have a staff in place. You might not have to. I'm not telling you that they're right, but I am telling you that we're going to have to let it play out because they might be right. And if they're right, and I've said this before about the university and Belichick, I don't think this is mutual attraction. I don't think Bill went, man, I've always wanted to coach in college, and what better place than Chapel Hill? Like, I don't think Bill's got, I mean, he might be a James Taylor fan, but I don't think he's got any, James Taylor, Chapel Hill love in his body. And I don't believe that the University of North Carolina, in trying to elevate their football program, went, you know what we really need? We really need a 73-year-old six-time Super Bowl championship coach who, frankly, could be here for 1 year. That's not what it wouldn't be where I would go if I was looking for, this has to be done differently. This is purely transactional. It is a marriage of convenience. And it might work. And if it does, North Carolina is going to reap the benefits, and Bill Belichick is going to look like a visionary.
I'm excited to see if it does.
I said this from the day we found out it was going to happen. This will be the most fascinating experiment in modern college athletics. If this works, and I think the entire year we're going to be watching North Carolina football anyway. If this works, it is going to completely, it's going to reconstruct how we think about college football. Good or bad, I am here to watch it all unfold. We're going to talk pro football, and I would like to hear Trey Wingo's thoughts on the return of Bill Belichick. We haven't spoken to him, I think, since Bill was announced as the head coach. We'll talk to Trey Wingo about the divisional round of the playoffs and more next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
It's 2025, and everybody's looking for a fresh start with their resolutions. Every team, player, coach, they've got something on a wish list. The Canes, I think they could use a little bit more toughness. The Panthers, clarity on Bryce Young. Is he the guy? Is he not? And every college basketball team wants to be hitting their stride as they hit the ACC schedule.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Lowe's knows how to help make your Super Bowl 59 party a touchdown. Let us help you prep your home to host with top brands like Charbroil, Blackstone, and LG, so you can be the MVP of game day. Plus, use the Lowe's app to find what you need for a seamless shopping run. Or huddle up with our Lowe's Red Vest associates to help make all your game time hosting decisions.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair? Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now it's our lowest price of the season on our top-selling i8 smart bed. Your best savings, plus free home delivery with any base. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes.
And I went, oh, that's why. That's what.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. NFL divisional playoff weekend. For my money, this is the best weekend of NFL football because it's not just 2 games. I get the championship weekend. We get 2 great games, and sometimes those games are better than the Super Bowls. We got 4, and I think we're going to have some really good ones. Trey Wingo, let me get through the intro here, 33rd team. Pregame Powerup on DraftKings. Don't know if they're doing that during the playoffs, but we did it during the regular season. You are. Great. And, of course, Alternate Routes, the podcast, and that doesn't even touch it because we haven't even talked about golf. Down the road, we'll do that. So I want to ask you an Alternate Routes question, sir, before we get into other things.
Hit me.
Had Sean McDermott squib kicked it, kept it in the field of play when they had the The 3-point lead on the Chiefs with 13 seconds left, and Kansas City had, I think, no timeouts. Or maybe they had I don't know if they had timeouts or not. They needed a field goal, and they needed however many yards to get themselves in range. Do you think Kansas City's trajectory is different, or more importantly, Buffalo's?
Well, I think that if they had just done that, the Bills would have won that game. I don't think there's any question about that. I think Kansas City had 2 timeouts, and they were able to get off 2 plays because they took no time off the clock.
Right.
They hit the big one to Tyreek, and then they hit the slot to Kelsey, and it turned out to be like a 42-yarder for Butker. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what would have happened against Buffalo in that AFC Championship game against the Bengals, because that Bengals team was just feeling themselves, and they were young and didn't know any better. But I certainly think that we would look at Buffalo differently because, they go into this game with the Ravens on Sunday night, in all likelihood, realizing that the winner of that game's got to go to Arrowhead and deal with the Dragon Slayer.
Yeah, and he is this is the way I've said it. It reminds me a lot of the run with the Patriots, where you had the best quarterback coupled with the best head coach, because I think that's what the Chiefs have: the best quarterback and the best head coach.
I think you are reading the situation perfectly, and people will say, but Mahomes, 26 touchdown passes, and there's 11 interceptions. I think we've reached a point, Adam, where we are at what I call CDS, which is Chiefs derangement syndrome. People are so sick of them doing what they're doing. They're coming up with all these cockamamie reasons why it's happening. Well, they get all the calls. Actually, they don't. If you go back to the start of 2020, you want to take a guess at which quarterback has had the second most touchdowns overturned by penalty?
Oh,
take a guess.
I'm going to guess the answer is Patrick Mahomes.
That is correct. Okay? Now, remember, everyone's all on the Rams right now because look how great Puka and Cooper are with Matthew Stafford.
Right.
Well, when the Rams started 1-4 this season, neither Puka nor Cooper were on the field. People were like, oh, my gosh. Clearly, that's why the Rams' offense is struggling. They don't have their top 2 wide receivers.
Right.
Yet, when Patrick Mahomes lost his top 2 wide receivers and his number 1 running back 3 games into the season, when Hollywood didn't even get to the Week 1 game, people are like, well, what's wrong with Patrick Mahomes? I mean, dude, who else is going to lose their top 2 wide receivers and their number 1 running back and start 9-0? Guys, just come on. Let's just deal with reality here. And here's the problem for everybody else. When they take the field Saturday, that's going to be the healthiest and deepest they have been this entire season. And I want to be clear so people understand. This team, when they take the field, it will be the first time all season long when they will have Juju Smith-Schuster, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Noah Gray, DJ Humphries, and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes on offense. Okay? Now let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Chris Jones is going to be back. And here's the thing that no one's talking about. Jalen Watson, who was the corner that was taken over for L'Jarius Sneed and played great until he broke his fibula against the Niners, he's back at practice this week. There's a real chance he could play. So now you have Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, Charles Omenihu, Leo Chenal, Nick Bolton, Trent McDuffie, and potentially Jalen Watson back on defense. To that I say, good luck, Houston.
And Trey Wingo is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show at Wingo's with a Z at the end is joining us here. All right, so you've completely made me change my idea that this was going to be a close game because Kansas City played a lot of close games this year because the Texans really have not been great. I thought that the win over the Chargers I thought their defense played very well, but I thought that win was as much about the Chargers not playing well as Houston playing well.
They should have been up 17-0 in the first 10 minutes of that game. Instead, they were up 6-0. Well, here's the other thing. Here's what I can promise you is not going to happen. Patrick Mahomes is not going to throw 4 interceptions in this game. Justin Herbert, and one of them was clearly not his fault.
Right.
Justin Herbert threw 3 interceptions all season. He threw 4 in that game. And with all due respect to the Chargers and what they were able to do with Harbaugh, their offense is extremely limited. Look, just go back to the last game the Chiefs tried to win, okay? It was the Christmas Day game against the Steelers. It was the first game all season. Patrick Mahomes threw for over 300 yards, 340, and 3 touchdowns. They go on the road to a 10-win team and tap dance them by 20 points. Yes, it was 29-10 because of a missed extra point, blah, blah. But you get my point.
Yeah.
When they were all there, we're like, hey, guys, because I feel like the Chiefs' entire season has been, can we just get here? Can we just get here? We know what we're playing for. These regular season games, yeah, they're fun and they're important, but we're built for this. And when they had a chance to lock down that number 1 seed, they went out and just obliterated the Pittsburgh Steelers team by more points than the Ravens did at home, and the Steelers were at home for that game.
Yep.
The Bengals barely snuck by a 2 or 3 point game against the Steelers. They're always complaining, but they're not in the playoffs. Well, games in September matter too.
Yeah.
So you might want to consider that, Cincinnati. All I'm saying is everybody has looked for reasons to denigrate the Chiefs all season. You are going to get the full experience. Now, there might be a little rust, whatever, but Andy Reid's record, including postseason with a bye, 29-5, and wait for it, that's the best in the history of the NFL with extra time. So I'm going to say he's going to figure it out. And look, they're at their this is what they've waited for all year. This entire season has been Kansas City essentially playing with their food, and now they're ready to eat. And we'll see what happens.
Trey Wingo is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, to the contender or the contenders that are going to face each other. Like, I can't even put into historical perspective how we're watching Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen play each other in the second round of the playoffs, considering that these are easily the 2 MVP candidates. There's no other vote. Part of me wishes it would be tied, but regardless.
Me too, actually. Me too. I'd love to see a split between them.
They are both. They've carried their teams here. Lamar has had that Derrick Henry guy, which has helped.
Yeah.
I don't think Buffalo has another one of those. But I look at this game, and the Ravens are a very slight favorite in Buffalo. I look at this. I think obviously the winner is going to get Kansas City. As long as Kansas City does their job. I think the Ravens' defense might be playing at a level where I don't know that they're not the best team.
That's fair, and I think it happened about mid-season because for the first 6 or 8 weeks of the season, the Ravens' pass defense was atrocious.
Yep.
I mean, they were giving up about 275 yards per game through the air. And then they made an adjustment with Kyle Hamilton, moved him back to his more comfortable spot, and lo and behold, they got a lot better. And I think that's true. Now, you can also say that when the Buffalo Bills played the Ravens that first Sunday night game, September 29th, I think it was, where Derrick Henry ran for 199 yards, Matt Milano wasn't there, Terrence Johnson wasn't there. They had a bunch of pieces missing from the Bills' defense. The other thing to consider in that game Sunday night is the weather is going to be a factor. There could be snow, it could be freezing, really cold temperatures like 14, about 0 wind chill, whatever.
Buffalo.
But as much as we love that, it really actually favors Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore has Derrick Henry and the leading rusher in the history of the NFL in terms of quarterback plays in NFL history in Lamar Jackson. They are meant to run the football.
Yeah.
And so James Cook has been great, don't get me wrong, and Josh can run things for you. But it is all about Josh in Buffalo. Now, the Zay Flowers injury concerns me a little bit if I'm a Ravens fan. But if you tell Lamar, hey, we only need to throw it like 15 times, and in those conditions, that's a favorable matchup for Baltimore, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Ravens in the game. I thought it was interesting that at the beginning of the game against the Steelers, they used a lot of zone read action with Lamar Jackson, involving him immediately in the run game. They've been basically a throwing team when they're not handing off to Derrick Henry all season long, but they really leaned into Lamar's legs early against Pittsburgh. I wonder if those were body blows to the Steelers.
They were, and here's the other thing I would caution, and everybody does this, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody. We all fall in love with the teams that look good on Wild Card weekend. And then you realize, okay, but they're playing Wild Card weekend for a reason.
Right.
Like the Steelers were dead. Let's be honest. The Steelers were dead then walking. They came in losing their last 4 games. They've lost their last 6 playoff games. And everyone hates Mike Tomlin. My question and my response to that would be, when has he had the better quarterback? Like, when in the Mike Tomlin era has he had the better quarterback?
I'm with you.
And you have to go back to a couple games when he had Ben Roethlisberger, maybe against Joe Flacco. And people say, well, he's got to get a new one. Okay, well, it's not that easy, right? To try to get Russell Wilson, to try to get Justin Fields. And the problem is Mike is so good at coaching up his players that they never lose. They never have a losing season. So in one sense, he's the victim of his own success.
Yep.
And people will say then, well, that's his. No, his job is to win games. It's the front office to try and find a quarterback. And now, no matter who they bring in next year for Mike Tomlin, at minimum, he's going to be the 3rd best quarterback, or maximum 3rd best quarterback in that division when you have Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow there.
Right.
So it's a tough spot for Tomlin. So what I'm saying is Baltimore looked great. Let's not overreact. The Rams looked great against the Vikings. Let's not overreact. I thought the most impressive win of all those teams that played Wild Card Weekend was Buffalo. They took an opening shot from Bo Nix, huge play.
Yeah.
Young team that doesn't know any better. Hey, we don't know we're not supposed to be doing this. And then they methodically just wore them down. They just absolutely wore them down. And I thought that was really impressive.
All right, I'm gonna give you a counter to that as our last item to get to. Trey Wingo joining us here, because I thought the most impressive thing was Washington staring down Tampa Bay on the road and coming with Jaden Daniels. Look, they've got a lot of veterans around him, so it's not like it's a team of rookies. It's not like watching a bunch of freshmen like Duke basketball. But the way they approached that game, they never, ever blinked. And look, I think Tampa probably made enough mistakes to give Washington the opportunities. But, man, they are impressive. I don't think they'll beat Detroit, but I think that game could be great.
I think we might not see a punt or a field goal attempt in this entire game. And I mean that sincerely. And we talk about how impressive Detroit's defense was against the Vikings. Well, we saw in that game against Minnesota and the Rams that the Vikings have offensive line issues. And in that Week 18 matchup, there were open plays for Sam Darnold. He just missed them on those first 2 drives inside the 10-yard line. He just missed them. He's not going to miss those guys. And if I'm the Commanders, if I win the coin toss, I take the ball. I don't want to defer. I want to take the ball. I want to take the ball and go at them and see what happens if we put points on the board first and how they respond.
Yeah, I mean, I just like, not that I am a huge gambler, but over 55.5 does seem like free money. But I'm not, I've been wrong before. I'm way more wrong than I'm right, but that does seem like free money. But
yeah, exactly.
I could be wrong about that. Trey Wingo, pregame Powerup, DraftKings, 33rd team, the alternate routes on Wondery. I mean, we'll get to the rest of the business card next time. Sir, I appreciate your time as always.
You got it, Adam. Always a pleasure. Talk to you soon.
You got it. Trey Wingo here on the Adam Gold Show. All right. Yeah, so he convinced me that the Chiefs are just going to, have their way with the Texans now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If there was any doubt for whatever reason, yeah.
Trey, she just completely convinced me that my thought, this 24-day layoff, and the Chiefs have been just so average, just getting by all year long, and they've been lucky, missed a block, extra point, field goal, whatever it is, a snap that the quarterback's not even looking at, hits him in the face. They're getting healthy.
Yeah. I feel like the Texans are the Steelers in the playoff scenario where they're just, it's on borrowed time.
Well, the Texans also, if they played in a different division, a division where there were good teams in it, and there were not good teams in this division. 2 of the worst teams in football, Jacksonville and Tennessee.
Yeah.
And the Colts without Anthony Richardson due to health. And I think there were some emotional growing pains this year for Richardson as a quarterback.
Yes.
Right? He had
him tapping out on his own.
There were some things that, this is not college. And the guys around you They need to have respect for what you do, not your ability, your availability. And I think the division was essentially gift-wrapped for Houston. They did not play well this year. C.J. Stroud, I'm not in any way doubting that he's going to be a wonderful quarterback going forward. He didn't have a great year. But they're in the playoffs because they won this division, and now you get to go to Kansas City, which seems to be pretty healthy. Well, that might not work out well for the Texans. I expected the Chiefs to win. I thought that it would be more of a struggle for them to win, and it may be because, sports happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the more I think about this, I like the Ravens to beat the Bills. I like the head coaching advantage I believe that the Ravens have. I like the fact that they have a reliable source of offense that doesn't come from their quarterback in Derrick Henry. The funny thing is, James Cook has had a really good year. For my money, as the year has gone on, James Cook has looked less and less a part of what Buffalo does. That's not to say they're not using him. It has appeared to me that it has been more about Josh Allen, go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Ravens have more of a, we're going to run it with this guy. With this guy. We're going to throw it with this guy.
It's a plan. There's
right?
structure.
I'm not sure the Bills really have it. They still don't have a wide receiver I think that you have to really worry about. That's not to say they don't have good wide receivers. Coleman's gotten better. Shakir's been good. The two tight ends are great. I love Knox and Kincaid, right? But they have
been using him more.
Should have.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's about Allen making stuff happen.
Yeah.
Lamar makes stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
But they seem like they have a lot of other ways to beat you than, number 8, just go make a play. I believe that. And I do think that they are the best team. With all of the stuff that Trey Wingo said, I think the Ravens are going to win 3 straight. But, of course, if I think it must be wrong.
No comment.
Right?
Hey,
it must be wrong.
Who knows?
Seriously, when was the last time I was right?
Yeah, I don't know. But you've got a bunch of draws, and any of those could be right.
I haven't decided yet. That group chat is really trying to talk me out of it.
Oh.
They're trying to talk me out of it.
They don't think it's going to
be
Draw
it's not.
City.
It's not that they're looking for me to do well. They're just showing, how do you think that and they're all right. I'm telling you. We're in this little rut where I don't know which end is up.
Right, because you tried to do the reverse psychology effect on it. And
I'm going to roll dice. I'm going to spin a wheel.
All right, flip a coin.
All right, real quick. Canes in Vegas tonight. I haven't even looked at the line yet. I will when we place bets here in a minute. The best news the Hurricanes could have gotten all year long in a season with some incredible highs and some confounding losses. The best news they got was that Frederick Anderson was activated today. Anderson will back up Kochetkov tonight. Piotr will start against Vegas. Dustin Tokarski was sent back to the minor leagues, to the Chicago Wolves. And Anderson will back up tonight. My guess is we'll start in Chicago on Monday. And I think what Rod will do, I'm almost positive of this, is that he will then alternate those two goalies, for the most part, for the rest of the season. It will go back to being what it used to be, which is we got a goaltending tandem. And when it was, Anderson was the number one when Antti Ranta was the backup. But in the last 20 games last year, Kochetkov and Anderson just alternated. And then Anderson started the playoffs. He deserved to start the playoffs, to be honest. I think Rod will more than likely, with few exceptions, alternate goalies the rest of the way. And I think what he's going to end up having is Anderson, who was, to me, in my brain, the number one, play great, and Kochetkov see his game elevate too. And now the Hurricanes, and I do believe this, I think the Hurricanes from tonight on, well, maybe not tonight. Honestly, maybe not tonight. But for the most part, over the last 30-some-odd games of the season, 35 games of the season, I think Carolina's goaltending will be top 10 goaltending in the league, maybe better, and they'll be fine. Not worried about making the playoffs. I'm not worried about finishing in the top 3 of the division. In fact, I still think they could win the division. And I think Frederik Andersen's return, especially now, if this doesn't happen until March, if he's out another 4 weeks, which would have been the 8 to 12 weeks, if he's out to the end of that window, he doesn't come back until after the Four Nations tournament, which means that there's, 20 games left in the season, if that, when we get to that point. And it's harder to have a huge impact, although that's what it was last year. I think it's great news for Carolina. Andersen is back. He will back up tonight. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll stretch. We'll place bets. Maybe I'll buy the Hurricanes victory. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's that time of year to come see me. Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you. So make sure you don't have to cancel on those you love the most.
By getting your flu and COVID vaccines. They're safe and effective.
Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated to fight against new virus strains.
So make sure you don't miss that family gathering and protect those around you. Ask your healthcare provider about updated flu and COVID-19 shots.
Get protected this season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends, look closer. Right in your community, there are youth who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So, look closer. Every year across America, a staff staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. Every youth who walks into Covenant House gets clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So, look closer at Covenant House and help us fight youth homelessness. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
This is Adam Gold.
Home runs are homers, not dingers, not jacks, not bombs. Can I use tater?
I know. Can we say going yard?
Oh, yes.
Right?
If we can't exaggerate, if we can't use colorful, flowery metaphors and descriptions, why are we here?
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. How you doing? I'm Adam Gold. Next hour, couldn't be more excited. In the Roundtable, our friend Travis Hancock from Charlotte, and Mark Ennis from ESPN Radio in Louisville. That's all. I love having Mark on. Mark's great. And also Elliot Avent, NC State baseball coach. We're going to talk baseball. Do you think he likes the modern game?
Ooh, we shall see.
We'll find out. Elliot Avent. Not to mention the fact that it's going to be like 15 degrees. How are you getting ready now? It's going to be cold. You know what the high temperature here is on Monday?
Oh, I know it's supposed to be like stupid cold.
30.
Wow.
Where do we live?
I know.
What happened to our mild winters?
Yeah, not this year. But I don't think we're getting snow this time. However, we could. I would like for us to get snow. Like snow, not the like slushy stuff.
Okay, I heard this yesterday morning walking out to the barn.
Mm-hmm.
Because we still have ice. We didn't get enough snow to still have ice.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't get warm enough during the day for the ice to have melted, and then at night it freezes right away. So we still have a lot of ice all over the property.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, there's an old wives' tale that says that the reason that stuff lingers around is that it's waiting for more snow. I'd never heard that before.
It needs a friend.
And I'm wondering if she just made that up. So if anybody out there knows, I'm convinced that she just made it up.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever heard of that, but that doesn't mean that it's fake.
So if you've heard it, feel free. You can confirm
Frosty needs a girlfriend.
Yeah, you can confirm it on the chat on the YouTube stream, or hit us up on Twitter at agoldfan, and then Victoria with a whole bunch of underscores. At V to the Victoria,
yeah,
but
it's V
underscores
to the Victoria
at every place you put a break. All right, let's stretch.
Okay, so I love when these companies, man, this week has just been a week of like companies doing silly things. And the next silly thing is Progresso. They have come out with some new cough drops. However, they're not really cough drops, but they're chicken noodle soup cough drops.
What?
They're not medicated, though, so you don't want to get these if you think it will help. It is the season, speaking of snow and cold and yuck. There's a lot of people who could use some legit cough drops, but if you just want to, I guess, taste chicken noodle soup while you don't feel well, you can get this now. They did sell out immediately because it was announced yesterday, and they were gone in a blink of an eye. But they are going to be doing another drop. Cough drop, get it?
Okay. I do.
Next Thursday, and then the week after that. So they did this to be silly because it's National Soup Month. I didn't realize that was a thing. They're called soup drops if you're interested. And like I said, they're not medicated in any way. So you're also going to have to get the nasty ones too. But they are soup flavored candy, quote candy. And people.
What?
Yeah.
Soup flavored candy?
Yes.
No good.
Yes.
No good.
So that's what you can get. And people were saying that have tried it said then it does kind of taste like chicken noodle soup.
No, I don't want that as a candy. It's not candy.
I know. If I'm having candy, I don't think I'm going for that. But if you're not feeling well, maybe that's what you'd rather go to. I don't know. I'd like to have the real thing if you're not feeling well, but to each their own. So now that's a thing thanks to Progresso. So, yeah.
Okay.
But you know what else could be a thing? Making good bets.
Yes.
Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal in Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right. I haven't won a bet in like forever. So.
Oh, man. Well, like we talked about, however, it's been a minute, so we started the show out. I actually went 2 for 3. I didn't get my last one that I checked, but I did get the Maple Leafs to beat the Devils. They were home underdogs. And the Blue Jackets under 6.5 against the Sharks. Got that one plus 170. However, the Panthers did not win against the Red Wings yesterday.
I did. Remember, I said I got my NHL parlay right, but I didn't bet it, so it didn't matter to me. I don't care.
That's always how it works out. Well, mine are all going to be organized violence because UFC has a really big card in California. I guess it's still in California, but it's 3-11, and the first fight is Aileen Perez versus Carol Rosa. Aileen, some people might know her because she likes to twerk after she wins in the octagon. But she is an up-and-comer, and she is
Aileen?
Very talented. Yes.
Aileen?
So
Okay.
she is very talented. She's a little feisty thing. So
Well, my
I
wife
think-
is feisty.
Oh, well, there you go.
But twerking,
so,
no. That's
yeah.
not that's not happening.
Maybe it's a distant cousin. So these two, I'm going to take Aileen Perez by the points because both of these ladies like to let it go to the judges. Never a good idea. But Aileen by the points plus 290 is how I'm going.
All right. Gosh, there's so many things to start. I'm going to give you 2 different 4-leg NFL parlays. 2 different ones.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to pick 4 winners outright. Kansas City, Detroit, the Rams, and the Ravens. That's plus 772. I use FanDuel as my guide here.
Yeah.
Okay. But Chiefs minus 8.5. Forget about the winner. Over 55.5 in Detroit, Washington. Rams plus 6.5 in Philly. Baltimore still just to win outright. That's plus 1190.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I am much more confident about that.
Yes. Yes. I hear the excitement.
Yeah.
Well, the next one, I have seen this guy in person when the UFC came to Charlotte, and I'm very excited for him. Jelton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. Jelton, he can hang with the big dudes. He can stand up and throw some with them. However, he is also great at submission, and I think that is how he's going to win this one. So give me Almeida by submission. That's plus 130.
All right, national championship game on Monday. Remember, we're not going to be here on Monday.
Yes.
I'm going to take a flyer on Notre Dame at plus 290, but also Aeneas Williams, anytime touchdown, plus 500.
Ooh, okay. Last but not least, oh man. So I've actually won with this guy when he was an underdog last time, and I hope I'm not jinxing it. Yuri Prohaska versus Jamal Hill. Both of these guys have been out of the octagon for a while and need a win big time. Give me Prohaska. He is an underdog, so just outright plus 115.
By the way, the line for the Hurricanes game, because Frederick Anderson is back even though he's not playing, Hurricanes are a big favorite tonight. I'm doing something I can't believe I'm doing. Hurricanes under 5.5. There you go. Tonight.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
All playoff roads lead to New Orleans.
Playoff football, baby.
The Wild Cards, the championship games, presented by First Horizon Bank and Wake Med, will be heard here.
Curtis Samuel, 30, banging inside of the 20, 15, 10, slips out of a tackle, touchdown, Buffalo! 55 yards! Hot dog, man!
The Triangle's home for Super Bowl 59. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle sports leader.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell Dowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
To understand what makes Diamonds Direct different, you have to understand our history. It goes back 60 years to a renowned diamond cutter overseas. From there came years of diamond cutting, manufacturing, and wholesaling, supplying exquisite fine diamonds only to high-end jewelers. Then eventually the wholesalers started selling direct to the public, and that started a revolution. Today, we are a global diamond powerhouse with hundreds of thousands of customers and an impeccable reputation. But our core values are the same as always. Our diamonds are the highest quality cut by the best craftsmen. Our prices are the most compelling. Our selection is staggering. Our warranties and guarantees are rock solid. And our people are laser focused on helping you find the diamond of your dreams. We invite you to experience a jewelry shopping experience unlike any other. Showroom hours, directions, and more online at diamondsdirect.com. Official jeweler of the Carolina Hurricanes and proud sponsor of NC State Athletics. And proud to call the Triangle home. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
What's this?
We're expanding the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club.
That's a pretty big wrecking ball.
Well, with all these new scratch-offs, this place is going to be packed with new winners. Okay, let's go ahead and knock this wall down. This is where we're putting the polo field. Whoa, patience, Trixie.
This month's tickets are loaded with $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 3.3 to 4.55. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Parenting is hard. Technology can make it harder. The Family Media Plan developed by the American Academy of Pediatrics helps make it easier. Go to healthychildren.org/media plan today to create the media plan that's right for your family.
Lowe's knows how to help make your Super Bowl 59 party a touchdown. Let us help you prep your home to host with top brands like Charbroil, Blackstone, and LG, so you can be the MVP of game day. Plus, use the Lowe's app to find what you need for a seamless shopping run. Or huddle up with our Lowe's Red Vest associates to help make all your game time hosting decisions.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Snap is good. Ball's down. Kick from Jeter. Up, and it's good! Notre Dame takes the lead with 7 seconds left. The Irish inching closer to playing for a national championship.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Roundtable coming up in 15 minutes. Travis Hancock, WFNZ in Charlotte. And Mark Ennis, ESPN Radio in Louisville. I am fired up for that. We're going to talk a little bit about the College Football National Championship game, the 4 NFL playoff games, maybe some ACC basketball, maybe Bill Belichick. Who knows? We got about 15 or so, maybe 20 minutes to mess around with that. We'll see how much we can get to. We never get to everything I want to get to in the roundtable. All right, right now, Wall of Sound time.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, let's get right to it. And in the Wall of Sound, we have North Carolina's general manager for football, Michael Lombardi, who was on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, who asked Lombardi if Bill likes recruiting?
No, loves it. I mean, he really enjoys it, and the reception's been wonderful. It's been really good. He goes out there, he meets all the kids, and then we've been able to put some offers. We haven't been. We've kind of got. We came in here behind. We need to build a draft board or a high school board. We need to build a portal board, and we're trying to do it on a line item basis, which is difficult. But we will find smart, tough, dependable kids that want to be a part of a pro program. There's plenty of them out there.
Okay, so. Jot that one off. We're checking a lot of these boxes here that would make sense on why Bill would want to go. You haven't got a complete coaching staff yet, but you have an entire pro personnel group, which I think is very new for college ball. So what you're saying is, instead of reporting that we've actually pieced together the most important part of modern ball, you keep reporting about the coaching staffs. We'll get to that is kind of the thought, right? There's a process here on what we need to do, a timeline on it all?
Yeah. Well, first of all, people don't understand the NFL rules, right? So after 2 weeks, when the coaches are not in the playoffs, you can actually go talk to them if they're free agents. So we wanted to wait and see how many coaches who are working in the NFL who want to be here. And our phones have a lot of contacts on that. And then also we wanted to see what some of the college coaches who were available. We thought building a staff was probably the last thing we needed to do. We need to improve the talent pool here at North Carolina. That was really important to us. And so we needed to build a system of operation within this department. We needed processes and systems put in place so that we're just not randomly offering players. And we had to hire certain people to get that. Then we had to hire a strength coach, right? So we hired the former New England strength coach Moses, who's down here, and then he had to hire a staff, and now his entire staff is in place. And so now we can start our off-season program. Hiring the receiver coach, hiring the O-line coach, we were going to wait until the time was right, till we got everybody in the building so that all the staffs could work together, interview those people at one time. We're not just throwing this out there. This is well thought out. I mean, the guy's won 6 Super Bowls. He's put together a staff before.
All of that is true. All of that might not work. What we always hear when it comes to starting something in college football, he's got his staff all put together. What they're saying is that there are other things that they think are more important than who is going to coach certain position groups. Or maybe even who is going to be the offensive or defensive coordinators. Now, they have both of those. Freddie Kitchens on offense, Steve Belichick on defense, and really Bill. He's the defensive guy. But to criticize that or to be worried about that, to me, is assigning everything that happened in the past, the normal ways of doing things in college football, to the future, and I don't think that's the right thing to do. I really don't, but I've been beating that drum for a while. I think the game is changing, and it is changing in ways that we honestly might not even be able to tell. I've said this, I'll repeat myself at the risk of boring you to death. I think this is going to be the most fascinating thing we have seen in modern college athletics. The experiment that is going on with UNC football, and he's going to coach at least a year. But this experiment, I got popcorn. I'm all ready for it. All right, let's move on. We have the national championship game coming up on Monday night. Riley Leonard, we all remember him. He was Duke's quarterback last year. Interesting that Notre Dame has gone to Wake Forest and Duke for their last 2 quarterbacks. Okay. Riley Leonard, now he played for, Mike Elko? Now he's playing for Marcus Freeman. What does he think of his head coach?
I think he's just an extension of the team. He seems like a veteran teammate in my eyes. Like before we hit the field, whenever he's hyping the guys up, it feels like it's just a senior captain talking to you a little bit. And he does a really good job, though, of like balancing like the hierarchy of things. So he does understand that he has to carry himself as a head coach. And we obviously see him as our head coach, but we feel him in a different way. Like, he really does a good job of resonating to us as players. And there's a lot of leadership styles about him. I think one thing in particular, if he doesn't have an opinion on something, he'll let us make the decision. And a lot of people are egotistical in this field, and I don't see him as the guy that has any type of ego.
That was on a podcast, and I think there was another part of that podcast, and I honestly don't even know what podcast it was. And I wish I did. It's my fault. But when he was at Duke, in high school, by the way, he was a great basketball player. And they used to play pickup with Duke players, because I saw this clip, and he was talking about when he was at Duke, going to Cameron and playing pickup basketball games with Paolo Banchero, who was the first pick in the draft when he came out a few years ago. And like he said, I could hang with those guys. And he wasn't a great in terms of, he didn't have a great jump shot, didn't have great handles. He talked about all this. So I watched that clip, and Banchero actually tweeted that clip out and gave him his, like, said, oh yeah, it turned up at Cameron Indoor Stadium at night. It was very cool. Here's Leonard, more of a football angle on Ohio State's defense.
I think up front they do a really good job of getting to the quarterback, which obviously we do a great job of protecting me. But I think that they do a good job there. Their linebackers are really their communicators, and they're really smart guys. They're a veteran defense who communicate really well, and they know what they do. They do what they're good at, and they know what they do. And then on the back end, they got speed. Really good athletes there, guys who are going to play for a long time.
If Ohio State can, if Notre Dame can grind this game down, keep it low scoring, they've got a chance. If it gets, I would even argue if it gets above 20, I think it's a problem for the Fighting Irish. All right, one last thing. ESPN Radio talked to a gentleman named Mark Zinno, who's essentially a gambling guy, about angles for Bills-Ravens. And here are his thoughts on the game.
I think that one of these teams is going to exert their will early. And once you get the other one of these teams playing catch-up and in catch-up mode, that's where both these quarterbacks seem to falter a little bit, right? We've seen we've seen several instances of Lamar trying to throw the team back into the game,
I agree with
play
that.
from behind, and it fails. And when Josh has to play from behind, what happens? He presses a little bit, throws balls into bad windows, ends up making turnovers, and it hurts the team. And they get, like, that's the game script that both of these guys have to avoid. Could it be a back and forth, Bills score, Ravens score, Bills score, Ravens score, and it's one score either way? Yeah, I think that could happen. I just don't think it's as likely as one team taking advantage early and getting out to a 10-0, 14-0 lead, 14-3 lead, and all of a sudden it's like the other team's got to play catch-up for 3 quarters.
All right, I'm not so sure that guy's watched Josh Allen this year, but that's fine. Or Lamar Jackson. There have been no turnovers. These guys don't turn it over. Allen's got 8 turnovers all year. Lamar Jackson has 9. I mean, they won a lot of games. Maybe they haven't trailed enough, but I don't know. I watched it was the Rams game that I remembered, and they were behind that entire game, and all Allen did was account for 6 touchdowns. He threw 3 and ran 3. He was a machine. Anyway, who knows? Who knows? I think Derrick Henry is kind of the difference maker here, but you got 2 of the best players in the entire sport going at it. I cannot wait to watch that game.
I'm so excited for that game. That's going to be my favorite for sure.
That will be my Sunday night is that.
I know. I'm glad they put it on Sunday so I could watch the fights on Saturday. I know they did that just for me.
They did. What will Victoria want?
Yeah. She wants to watch the fights on Saturday.
And Victoria wanted Travis Hancock and Mark Ennis in the Roundtable.
Right.
A great job by you, and we'll talk to both of them next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Natchez heads up. Back to Orlov. He scores! A 1-2 punch from Dmitry Orlov. It's 3-2 on Orlov, second of the game.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Back to Slavin. He shot right on. Rebounds out in front. Chance up front. They score!
exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes. 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And here we are on the cusp of yet another NFL playoff weekend. And right now, all customers can get a no-sweat NFL same-game parlay for any game in the playoffs. This is how much we love the NFL at FanDuel. Just place a 3-leg NFL same-game parlay. You'll get a bonus bet back if your bet doesn't win. That's awesome. It's free. You get a chance to hit it big, and if it doesn't work, you get that money back so you can bet it again. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel.com/AdamGold, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max wager $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and switch to the expensive shampoo with amino acids. Sure, you don't know what those are or why you need them, but it sounds very impressive. And if you switch and save hundreds, you can massage it into your scalp every day. Now, if only you can get people to lean toward your head to smell those aminos. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shampoo. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? HIMS can help. Get started at hims.com/joy. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy.
Lowe's knows how to help make your Super Bowl 59 party a touchdown. Let us help you prep your home to host with top brands like Charbroil, Blackstone, and LG, so you can be the MVP of game day. Plus, use the Lowe's app to find what you need for a seamless shopping run. Or huddle up with our Lowe's Red Vest associates to help make all your game time hosting decisions.
This is Adam Gold.
Did you see what Duke is paying the quarterback that they pulled out of the portal from Tulane?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. 2-year deal, $4 million per.
Oh, wow.
Per. So.
Do they want a quarterback named Victoria?
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Welcome to your Friday. Sure, you've been here. Quick bit of housekeeping. Monday, the show will be a best of on Monday as we all prep for the national championship game of college football, Notre Dame and Ohio State. We'll be back on Tuesday of next week, and we'll recap not only an entire weekend of NFL football, but the national championship game. Will Brinson, Brian Geisinger will talk ACC hoops with us, and we're going to talk some ACC hoops in the roundtable because I actually don't even know when Pitt goes to Florida State and loses by a dozen. I'm not saying Florida State is bad. I also don't think they're good. It's a curious loss for Pitt because I thought Pitt was really good. Now I'm not so sure. But anyway, I do know that Duke is good, and we will talk some college hoops here in a second. Are we ready to begin the proceedings?
Camelot. It's only a model.
Excited. That right there is Mark Ennis, ESPN Louisville, who joins us. Travis Hancock is going to join us in a second from WFNZ in Charlotte. So, Mark, I have you all to myself. How are you, my friend? Happy New Year.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It has been a Happy New Year around here. There are good vibes around here, Adam, for maybe the first time in like 2 years with you that we've been doing this.
I know, man. I've experienced through you the dark times. The sad part about that is that I could not be more fond of Nolan Smith. And Nolan, who's, his dad was a legend at Louisville. I hate the fact that he went through that. So I don't know about your dealings with Nolan, man, but I love Nolan Smith. So I hope what everybody gets kind of repairs whatever happened there. I hope everybody kind of repairs their coaching resumes, including Nolan. But since I've got you alone real quick.
Sure.
Right now, Louisville looks like the second best team in the league. Which, given the Duke game at Louisville and how that played out, what does that say about the league from Mark Ennis's perspective?
Look, I'm not going to try and sugarcoat this for anybody. It's not a great league. There's probably not a lot of years where this Louisville team would be the second best team in the league, but they don't have any control over that. And so I'm not going to poo-poo them for taking advantage of it.
No.
And I do think, just because the league is bad doesn't mean the team isn't good, because I think Duke might be the best team in the country.
Right.
And the ACC being bad isn't going to affect that one way or the other. And so for Louisville, I think they've had to reinvent themselves in the middle of the year while being brand new too, because of injuries. And so I think this version of the team that has emerged here is sustainable. And I think Pat's maybe ahead of the pack for National Coach of the Year at this point with how Louisville's playing and might finish up.
All right, so let's dig into Pat Kelsey real quick. The energy is obvious. Yeah. But he's also been very successful as a coach. I mean, he did a really good job in Charleston and other stops. He's been very successful. How has he embraced? Obviously, we know with incredible amounts of energy, like he's got a Celsius drip at all times. But I mean, by the way, Celsius is like on the low, pretty good. But we're bonding over energy drinks. But how has he embraced the challenge? Because it's a massive one.
He full force. I think one of the best things about him so far has been a real refusal to make any kind of excuses about anything that he has either inherited or has had to deal with during the year. Again, they two projected starters on a brand new team that got hurt in season. And so they really had to sort of start things over. And not just a projected starter, but like Kason Pryor was going to be like the emotional energy of the team. Mm-hmm. And to find a really workable workaround and to be playing their best basketball of the year after all of that, he's been embraced enthusiastically. It's hard to imagine the fact that, Adam, he wasn't the first choice, that they really made legit runs at Dusty May and Josh Schertz first.
Right.
And sometimes you luck into the best thing for you. So they didn't aim for him, but goodness, it's hard to imagine that they could have gone anywhere else with this hire.
Of course, it's the opposite of you don't want to follow the guy. Yeah. Right? It is sort of the opposite of that, because anything, like if you were going to point a finger as to why, because Kenny Payne was they loved the idea that they were bringing Kenny Payne back initially. Yeah. What was the one thing that really got in their way?
Well, Kenny was the thing that got in their way.
Yeah. But was he a bad basketball coach? Was he a bad recruiter? Was he a bad communicator? Because it's hard to get all of those things wrong in a coaching search.
Yeah, he was everything right about him was not basketball. There was a real sense that like Chris Mack didn't get it here, and that Kenny would get it here, and that they needed somebody who had connections to the program, and that you would be able to get people who had been maybe alienated over the years back in if you get somebody like Kenny who gets it. And instead, you really got, I think, maybe like the worst example of kind of the stereotypes of a Calipari assistant coach. Like, he doesn't have a coaching tree.
Right.
His assistants are not successful anywhere. And Kenny has turned out to be like the purest example of sort of how Cal's way of doing things doesn't create assistant coaches that are good coaches. And Kenny wasn't ready for any element of the job, the public relations part, the X's and O's part, the attention part. And if there's one place where they are the most different, he and Kenny, Kenny resented just like the constant attention and fan reaction to everything. And I don't know about you, but like I feel like that's one of the reasons you come to a place like this, because in most places you're gonna have to beg people to care at all. And Pat's he's fed by it. He's clearly somebody who's fed by the obsession of the fans, because he's like that too. And so it's just a much more natural marriage.
Yeah, it's a fishbowl. It's a fishbowl oval. And it's funny. This is a long time ago now, but about 20 years ago, a little bit less. I did a pretty lengthy interview with J.J. Redick. He was still a senior at Duke. He hadn't left school yet. And I asked him if he was looking forward to being more anonymous when he got to the NBA. Because I don't care how good J.J. Redick was going to be as a pro, and I knew he was going to be a good pro. Because if you could shoot the basketball, you're going to be a pro. I mean, it's just it's the one skill that you can shoot. We'll figure out a way to get you on the court. But that he was no longer going to be the face of the college game. That I asked him if he was looking forward to that, and he was. But at the same time, he sort of embraced it at Duke. Let me ask you about Duke, because this is what I've been hearing now here for like the last week. Oh, man, get ready for Cooper Flagg. You're just not going to stop hearing about it. And here's all I can think of is like, wait a second. So maybe the best player in college basketball, who we're only going to see here for another 2.5 months or 3 months. We're tired of this? Like, what's wrong with us that we know he's going to go to the NBA after next year? That even before we get to any fatigue we might have, we're going to be fatigued. I'm not going to be fatigued. I was not fatigued by Zion. I was not fatigued by any great player, especially one that's not going to be around here. What's wrong with us?
No, I'm 1,000% with you, and I think Cooper Flagg is very, very likable. Like, he's fun to watch. And I'm glad you said Zion Williamson, because he reminds me of him in that way. Like, he looks like he's having fun.
Yeah,
and I know that like. Since you mentioned J.J. Redick, like going all the way back to probably Danny Ferry, like having a guy on the Duke team that everybody hates, it's like an office. Like, it's a role that somebody picks up, and a baton that somebody carries. And neither he nor Zion really like that to me. And so I'm with you. I think the sad part is there aren't a lot of worthy opponents in the ACC to really show him off like he deserves.
I've said this before. I'm getting Gonzaga vibes, that there really isn't anybody else in the league. There's no St. Mary's, and there might not be a St. Mary's in the league. I don't know. Like, I thought when I watched the Duke-Pitt game, I was super impressed by Pitt. And I know Clemson's good, but I was super impressed by Pitt. And Pitt's dropped their last two, including a kind of a stinker at Florida State. So now I'm not sure. Did I watch Pitt just play really well that one day? Because I think there's a responsibility to being good, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely there is. And I think it's the fact that like every team after Duke, it has some sort of confounding kind of weakness, to them, is frustrating. And it doesn't help anybody's sort of perceptions of just how bad ACC basketball has been this year. North Carolina maybe has like the most skilled other guys to sort of put opposite of him, but that's not a good team.
No,
like we've come to expect there. And that's a big difference. And that's maybe the most disappointing part about the ACC is it's not even like a bunch of like teams with good players who aren't putting it together. Like these are they're not great teams right now. Really kind of a top to bottom even. They all have flaws for sure.
Yeah, real quick, just to clarify, I said yes quickly. I think Carolina is good. I think Pitt is good. I think Louisville is good. I think Clemson is good. I have SMU. I don't think they're that good. I think those are the 4 teams below Duke, right? And I think in any other good ACC season, we would be talking about, just looking at the makeup of the roster, where those teams would be like 6, 7, 8, 9 in the league.
Yeah.
And they're 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think that's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at the league. All right. First of all, Travis is not joining us. I hope Mabel, his dog, is okay. I don't care about Travis. Okay. I hope Mabel. Yeah, I hope Mabel's okay. All right, so let me ask you about the college football playoff game. Where you're looking at Notre Dame and Ohio State. How does this game play out?
I feel, this is the least sports radio answer ever, but I feel like it's one of 2 things. And I think Ohio State's either going to roll in a way that's very consistent with the national championship game in these settings, where like all the drama is before the championship game, or Notre Dame is going to squeeze them into the same mold they've squeezed everybody into and win a game that hits the under and is physical and messy, and they're opportunistic. I do not think that Notre Dame can't win. I'd be very surprised if they do win, and I feel like it's far more likely that we get the one-sided coronation of Ohio State, and we end up having like a whole offseason of what the hell happened against Michigan.
But it wasn't just against Michigan. Ohio State played down to their competition a lot this year, right? The Michigan game was that on steroids. Like, really, that wasn't a good team that you lost to at home. There was just nothing good about that. And maybe that was the worst thing that happened to Oregon, was that ultimately they had to deal with Ohio State. I think we could all agree that the seeding process of the college football playoff is going to have to change.
And sometimes, like when a team flops like that, like in the Michigan game, there's some freedom that comes with it,
right?
Where it's like we've been humiliated the worst way we possibly can. There's no pride anymore, and there's no denying that. Like they didn't look like they had a lot of fun all year,
right?
And that they have looked like they've had a tremendous amount of fun post Michigan. And maybe getting to just sit in kind of the criticism and that sort of thing after the Michigan loss instead of having to play in the Big Ten championship game. Like maybe all of that just sort of allowed them all to sort of just vent and then play much more freely, because they most certainly have.
All right, final thing from Mark Ennis, ESPN Louisville, and it's perfect that we're going to talk about this. I'm not sure you're aware. Lamar Jackson went to Louisville. You might talk about it occasionally. This game could be one of the all-time, like this could be Magic versus Larry. Yeah. You're too young. I actually don't remember watching it because even I'm too young for a national championship game in 1979 in college basketball. Although the first one I remember was the next year, Louisville and UCLA. But this is what it's like for me. I think it's Magic versus Larry. How do you see this game?
Yeah, I'm hopeful that the weather doesn't matter, and that we get what I'll call like an old school Big 12 game. I'm not interested in not interested in seeing either defense do much. I want to see these guys show off, right? Like I want this to be a party. I want this to be best case scenario, Adam, for everybody is that it reminiscent of that divisional playoff game between the Chiefs and the Bills several years ago, that the Chiefs win, in overtime. But that game, like I felt like I needed a cigarette after that game, and that's what I'm hopeful for this. And you have so many big offensive personalities, and I think teams playing with a ton of confidence, and certainly better than they looked, say, after 5, 6, 7 weeks of the regular season. Like this is the best version of both of these teams. The only shame, Zay Flowers not going to be, I don't think he's going to be able to play in this one, but Baltimore's looked really, really good down the stretch. And for as much as he's sort of been on the bad side of of Pat Mahomes, Lamar, he's been on the good side of Josh Allen more often than not. I think I would take the over and just sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, everybody is on the bad side of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, he's won 16 playoff games. This is the seventh year. Like, Joe Montana is second all-time in playoff wins, and that was his entire career, 16. Mahomes and Montana had some injuries, and they, of course, kicked him out of town because they realized, we have a Hall of Famer right behind you. Steve Young. Mark Ennis, I appreciate your time, my friend. I will talk to you very soon. Happy New Year to you and yours, and we'll catch up down the road.
Anytime, buddy. Anytime. Thanks.
Thank you. It was more of a table for two, and that's okay. When we come back, Elliott Avent is the head baseball coach at NC State. 4 weeks from today, when there'll probably still be snow and ice on the ground, the Wolfpack start their season. We'll talk to Coach Avent about that next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and the playoffs are here finally. And now all customers can get a no-sweat NFL same-game parlay for any game. Just place a 3-leg NFL same-game parlay. You will get bonus bets back if your bet does not win, so have some fun with it. Same-game parlay is the perfect way, the complement, if you will, to the NFL playoffs. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of the NFL and your ticket to more fun during the playoffs. FanDuel. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max wager $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
A crisis moment is any moment where you feel overwhelmed and as if you aren't able alone to handle what's happening. You don't have to be alone with that feeling. And when that feeling comes is exactly when you should reach out, you should get connected, and you should be in community. We care, we listen, we help. Call, text, or chat 988 anytime.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
I choose to stay up to date on my vaccines to protect what matters most, my community.
Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you.
So make sure you have protection against new virus strains that continue to spread this fall and winter.
Don't wait. Get up to date.
Because my health is our health.
Ask your healthcare provider about updated flu and COVID-19 shots.
Don't wait. Get your updated shots today.
Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
volunteers. The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people aged 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
This is Adam Gold.
Yeah, but he's real patient, like he said in his interview today.
In all other aspects of life.
Yes.
If he's in line at the drive-thru and it's taking a long time, he will not ram the car in front of him.
Exactly. Someone's pressing his shirt. He will wait 30 seconds for it to be crisper.
The Adam Gold Show.
I cannot believe that 4 weeks from today, NC State starts the baseball season at home against Fordham. The head coach is Elliott Avent, one of the all-timers, not only in baseball but in life, and he joins us on the Adam Gold Show. First of all, I don't know a whole lot about Fordham University. Is Frankie Frisch, does he have any eligibility left?
I hope not. I certainly hope not. But what was his nickname?
The Fordham Flash.
The Fordham Flash, right? He was the Fordham Flash. That's right. Good call, Adam. Good call.
Oh man,
yeah, I hope he doesn't have any eligibility left. I hope not.
Well, you have to pitch him tough if he does. It's funny. I go to the website and it says spring sport. It's 12 degrees outside, Coach. How do we call this a spring sport when you start in the winter?
Well, that's something they've looked at forever. I don't think we'll ever get that changed. But it's everybody's dealing with a cold, and we're here. But I talked to Monty Tao last night. Monty just threw it in. He said I think it was 82 in Gainesville today. He just kind of threw that in, and I said, well, Monty, I think it was like 20 degrees in our bullpen. Hey, however cold it is outside, if you come to one of our bullpen sessions, it is like I've always wanted to go to Lambeau Field and watch a game. That's on my bucket list, and I feel like I'm in Lambeau Field.
I know
it's awful. I don't know how our pitcher coach does it. He stays down there all day watching these bullpens, and it's tough down there. I'm telling you.
All right, I want to get to a couple of quick things. First of all, you're going to be home against Fordham, and then I think you have Liberty, and then you go to Jacksonville for a weekend of games. How important is it for your team to get away and to get into some warmer weather, so at least you know you're going to play, because you could be snowed out for one of these games. They're actually calling for snow. I haven't seen a weather report for 4 weeks from now, and I know we're going to have a bunch of games on the radio here, and I'm excited about that. But how do you? It's got to be important for you to get to a warm weather where you know you're going to play some games.
Well, it is, and but I'll be honest with you, the guys just want to play. I mean, I don't think they do yet. They know we have so much work to do. We're not very good defensively right now. You never know how your offense is going to be. I think that's the hardest thing to predict. If you got guys coming back like Virginia has so many guys in their lineup, it's almost like the whole lineup coming back, so he has a pretty good indication. But if you have we lost 70% of our offense last year, so that's an unknown product. But we're going to have to catch the baseball to have a chance and be a good base running team, do all the little things well. But I think our guys, whether it's cold, you always want to play in warm weather, but whether it's cold or warm, that's not why we go to Jacksonville. I try to get on the road to bring the team together. I'm still that guy that thinks team chemistry and everybody playing for one another and getting us through tough times and losing streaks and, differences that might exist during the season and disappointments. I'm a guy that likes to get us on the road so we can kind of bond as a team. Like that's Virginia's going to Puerto Rico this year. We're going to Puerto Rico next year. We went to Hawaii last year. Those are the things that I think have a big impact on just getting away and being in a hotel and seeing each other all day long at the ballpark and away from the ballpark as well. And so that's the reason we're going to Jacksonville. Plus, Peak Peak is putting on all these tournaments now, and the ACC has talked about we need to go play in these tournaments
Right.
for RPI points and to build our conference RPI and to help everybody with postseason bids. And so we've aligned with Peak, and they have tournaments all over the country, and we're trying to go to as many of those as we can, as the budget can afford.
Well, that's cool, and I don't know with all the money that's coming into college sports these days, maybe you guys will be able to afford a bunch of these. This is that's interesting to me that you go away not for the games necessarily, but for the bonding, the camaraderie, and it's interesting because I think a lot of people would go, baseball is really an individual sport. Everything you do in baseball is an individual act, whether it's swinging at a pitch, making a play in the field, throwing a pitch, executing a defensive play. They're all individual acts. But the team needs to play as one. How do you develop that chemistry over the course of a season? Because it almost has to develop naturally. But how do you look at it?
Adam, I've worked my whole life trying to figure that out, and I still try to figure it out every day because you're right. It's a lot of individual acts in baseball, and baseball may not be the team sport that football or basketball is, but it's certainly not golf or tennis or track either.
Right.
You have to, there's 39 guys on our team, and at the end of the day, 22, and I say 22, you could say 24, you could say 20, are going to get a lot of playing time, but nobody may not get the playing time they want or feel like they deserve. And baseball is such a hard sport to be successful at. You're never going to be where you want to be playing-wise. So there's a lot of disappointment in baseball. And at the end of the day, you try to build a team that wants to win for one another, and winning has to outweigh everything else that exists. And that's a hard thing to do, but like I say, it's what I've worked my whole life at. I think chemistry is a huge deal. We talk about a lot, and a lot of it is through leadership. And I'm not talking about leadership of the coaching staff. I'm talking about leadership in the clubhouse. We had so many great players last year.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Pennington, Alec McAravich on the corners had phenomenal years. But their leadership, especially guys in that locker room, their leadership and experience and work ethic day-to-day, the work ethic of a Jacob Cozart and the grind he put out through ups and downs and with somewhat pressure on him because it was his draft year and everybody knew what he was dealing with. There were guys that lead in that clubhouse and off the field are the secret to your success. And it comes down to recruiting good people, high character, who are self-built on being disciplined and self-disciplined and understanding winning is what we're all about. And you got to put sometimes your individual acts and individual goals, you got to set them aside sometimes if we're going to really build a team. So it's an ongoing process. Doesn't always work, but for me, I've always thought it was essential.
I mean, I could talk to you about a thousand things about the way of the future of college sports and how it impacts college baseball. We're not going to have time because I think that's a long conversation that I would really like to have with you, in the very near future. But I'm just curious because, you and I are both baseball fans. Is the college or pro, it doesn't matter. We're baseball fans. That's when we started this, I asked you about Frankie Frisch, who hasn't played in like 100 years. Do you like the game today, the way the game of baseball is played today? Does Elliott Avent love to watch that?
Well, I don't. Yeah, I do. And I think everything evolves. I think all games have changed a little bit. I mean, if you look, I grew up with football where you ran the football and running the football was the key to success.
Right.
If you could run the football, you could win. And then you go to the spread offenses and stuff, and that's obviously changed. college football, and I saw a thing the other day where we're going to be up tempo next year with our new offensive coordinator, maybe, and so football's changed. Basketball has obviously changed.
Yep.
I mean, it's not the same game I've watched ACC basketball my whole life, and I'm not talking about NCAA games. I'm talking about every game. You couldn't wait to the Holly Farms game of the week to watch every team in the ACC play, and that game has totally changed. So our game has changed as well, but I don't think it's changed as much, Adam, as football, and certainly as much as basketball has changed. But I know you hate bunting, so
I do.
Out, right? We don't bunt anymore. We just, we go for the long ball, and we don't bunt as much, even though I still think it plays a part, especially for teams to win championships. It's almost like when you get to those games in a regional or super regional or college World Series, and you're trying to win a game, it's kind of hard not to first and second bunt a guy over when you're down by one.
Well, here's my thing about bunting. Like what you just said there, that's the bunting I don't like. I don't like sacrifice. I don't like giving away outs. I consider outs to be precious. But I am all about squeeze bunting. I am all about bunting for a base hit. I love those parts of the game. And actually, I know Fred Manford takes a lot of heat, a lot of it from me, because frankly, I'm not sure he likes baseball. But the fact that they have put the stolen base back into prominence, to me, is one of the great things that any commissioner could have done. I think a stolen base is I love it. I grew up loving. I hate the Cardinals more than I hate anything else in baseball. That is the only team I really hate. I don't hate the Yankees as a Mets fan. I don't hate the Yankees as much as I hate the Cardinals. But that Cardinals team in the mid-'80s, when they were stealing 1,000 bases, man, you just put that right in my veins. I love everything about that. I wish we had the hit and run back. Nobody hits and runs anymore.
I know. They have no idea what it is. They know how, but you're right. Bunting for hits, the way our game has changed is travel ball obviously changed our game. Instead of the great high school coaches, I was at a clinic with Monty Tao and Derek Wittenberg and a lot of legendary people last weekend at George Whitfield, his clinic in Goldsboro, and he's a legendary coach in high school and other places. And, Rabbit Fulgham. I think about when I got into this business, the great high school coaches, when you got their players, they knew the game. They could bunt, they could hit and run, they could run the bases. The other day, I didn't want to criticize our team too much, but they don't understand it. I told them we may be the worst defensive team and worst base running team so far that I've ever been associated with. And those are things that we have to change.
Yeah.
But those are the things that they grew up not focused on,
right,
or not working at. And so our game has changed some as well, Adam, but our game has not changed near as much as football, and certainly not near as much as basketball.
No, it has become too home run dependent, and the three true outcomes, the walk, the strikeout, the home run, that's what everybody is looking for. I think that's where analytics has driven us. Getting the stolen base back, I still think that we will have the pendulum swing back towards guys putting the ball in play, I think, more eventually, because I think you're making it at times easier on pitchers when we're only focusing on home runs, strikeouts, or walks. But I am all about the modern game, and the fewer sacrifice bunts, the better. But you know how I feel about all of that. All right.
I know.
So one final thing, because we have to go.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your roster. I don't recognize names. It has to be more difficult for you today to put together. You say you have 39 players on your roster. It has to be more difficult for you today to put together your roster year to year. Is it purely every single year it's reconstructing?
No, it's not every single year, but that's what I think the problem is with some of these teams I see today. I don't like new faces every year. We had 20 new players, 20 returning players last year. We had the same format this year. and I thought this is going to be difficult. But once again, it's the leaders on your team. It's the character on your team that can make guys come together. And I work as hard as I can on it, but eventually it comes down to players. And but the basis of our program will always be high school players, recruiting guys, developing guys, and keep them here as well as we can until the draft. But we dealt with the draft forever. So when guys, hit their junior year or their draft eligible sophomore year, we've dealt with that forever. And it's something we've kind of dealt with before. But this is a new thing, getting this many new players. But we didn't lose guys to the portal last year. We lost guys to graduation and to the draft. And that's it's why we were so good last year. We had so many older players that were really, really good. And I always say older players, guys that have done this for a long time and have built confidence and know who they are and know what this is all about, it's much easier to win with older teams than it is with younger teams, I can tell you that.
Elliot Avent, I appreciate your time. I'll come out and check you out when you guys open up against Fordham.
You want to. It's always a great conversation when I talk to Adam Gold. So you come anytime you want to, and have a good start to your year.
All right, you too. I'll see you soon. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you, Adam. Bye-bye.
I love catching up with Elliot Avent. Absolutely love it. I don't know. The Hurricanes are actually off for like 2 weeks as the Wolfpack start their schedule. So I might actually be able to go check out some NC State baseball. I didn't go to a single game last year. I know they had a new field. Not everybody's happy about it. It was somewhat it was a cause of some consternation. We'll just leave it at that. All right, so we got a few minutes left here. The biggest and I think the best news that we heard today was the fact that Frederick Anderson was activated to the roster of the Carolina Hurricanes, and he will back up Pyotr Kochetkov tonight, who will take on the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas is one of the best teams in the league. Maybe the best team in the league. I think they might be the best team in the league based on winning percentage, points percentage. Here's the thing. Anderson played 4 out of Carolina's first 7 games. Carolina alternated. Freddie got the opener, Kochetkov game 2, all the way through game 7. Anderson played that one, and then he came down with a knee injury. He came down with it like it was a cold, like he caught the flu. His knee caught the flu. Anyway, what happened ended up being that Anderson required surgery, minor surgery, but still it kept him out for an extended period of time. And they said it would be 8 to 12 weeks. And because Freddie Anderson, and with the help of others, Rod Brindamore was encouraging people to just always assume the back end of that. We all assumed that it would be 12 weeks. 12 weeks basically would have taken us to the start of the Four Nations tournament, which is masquerading as the All-Star game in the NHL this year. And so I just assumed we wouldn't see Freddie till March, after that was over. Well, Anderson's been practicing. He's going to back up Kochetkov tonight. My guess is it'll either be Monday in Chicago or Tuesday in Dallas that we will see Anderson actually start a game. And now, the biggest problem that the Hurricanes have had to deal with over the entirety of the season, which, again, Anderson was gone 7 games into the year, has been consistency in goal. And the one thing that Anderson is going to give them is consistency in goal. So here's what just happened. The Hurricanes have had relatively shaky goaltending, some highs from Kochetkov, but also a lot of lows, in the number 1 goaltender spot, and very shaky backup goaltending. Now they're getting solid in net and the backup. I actually think this is the best possible news Carolina could have gotten. Victoria, thank you very much. We'll see everybody next week on the Adam Gold Show.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
It's 2025 and everybody's looking for a fresh start with their resolutions. Every team, player, coach, they've got something on a wish list. The Canes, I think they could use a little bit more toughness. The Panthers, clarity on Bryce Young. Is he the